is Super Twin and Super Sport.
The Masters Superbike Championship is brought to you by Principal Insurance, part of Howden. For motorbike, car, van and home insurance, Principal Insurance have you covered. Get a quote today.
Fergus Brennan from Mondello Park. Fergus, Motorcycling Ireland are having a draw to help with the insurance costs. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I don't know whether people are aware of just how desperate the situation is for motorcycle racing in Ireland. Basically, they couldn't get a quote for 2023, and this year they've got a quote, but the price is enormous. It's €600,000. And Motorcycling Ireland are in a position where they can pay that this year, just about. But if it goes on to next year and they're stuck with the same sort of cost, that will be the end of them. They won't be able to pay for insurance, and motorcycling genuinely will stop at the end of this year if we don't raise money. Now, Motorcycling Ireland have put the whole shot draw together with £150,000 or euro top prize and 5 prizes of €10,000. And they've got a little bit of resistance to people getting involved in it because they're not sure whether it's going to support motorcycle road racing or this branch of the sport or that branch of the sport. Will it come back? But the fact is that if people don't get behind this and buy tickets for this, we're not going to have any motorcycle racing anymore, and people need to understand that they've got to get behind this draw. They've got to buy the tickets. They're €100 each. There's 7,500 tickets, but you could win €150,000, and also you will be ensuring that motorcycle racing continues to exist in Ireland. And I know I'm repeating myself, but without this, if this doesn't work and we don't sell enough tickets, motorcycle racing will finish at the end of this year, and there will be no more motorcycle sport. So anybody looking to buy a ticket can go to mciholeshot.com, or they can scan the QR code that's on the screen now. If Jim brings the microphone down, there's a QR code on the screen now. You can scan that, or you can just go onto the website directly, or if you're here at Mondello Park at the event, you can come and find this at Brian McLaughlin's pitch just as you come over the bridge, or up at the restaurant, and you can scan that and buy your ticket. Or there are also people here who can sell you a ticket today. It's really important. If this doesn't work, motorcycle racing in Ireland is finished.
Yeah, it really is a grim situation. In when the last couple of years when we had no racing, people were completely lost, and it's more than just a race meeting. It's a social event as well.
Yeah, it's everything, and we've got to keep this going so we can keep the young kids coming through, keep them interested, help out all the people who want to go racing as a hobby, help those who are looking for a professional career out of it, and just give all the people who are here and who've paid in to watch motorcycle racing the chance to come back and do that again next year, because without it, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, so anyone, if you have a chance at all, please support this, because as Fergus says, there won't be any racing, and that's it. If it's gone for another year, it's finished.
Yeah, mciholeshot.com, go and buy your tickets.
And we'll hand back to Andy in the tower now as the lads are ready to go. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks very much, Jim. Thanks very much, Fergus. Yeah, that's very important information regarding that Motorcycle in Ireland draw. So we absolutely encourage everybody to participate in that, so that we don't end up where we were in 2023 with no racing. And it doesn't just affect us here in short circuit racing. It's everything. It's motocross, it's trials, it's hill climbs, everything. You know, we need to cover all our bases when it comes to insurance and make sure we don't get left behind. Very important cause. So take a look at that website, scan in that QR code, whatever, but get on board. €100, it's not a lot, over 12 months to ensure that we have continued racing for 2025 and onwards, so we get on top of this. But in the meantime, our riders are taking up their warm-up laps, and the grid is clear, so they will have 2 siding laps ahead of a 12-lap race. And once they come round and deafen us one more time, we will pull up the grid and run you through the start positions based on the lap times from yesterday's race 1. So as you can see, Alan Kenny is on pole position alongside Kevin Keyes, with Emmett O'Grady completing row 1. And VTL tag Honda 1000 Fireblade. Row 2, Shane Conley, number 96 on the Yamaha R1. Brian McCormack on the FHO Racing by Macau Roadhouse BMW M1000 RR is the middle of row 2. P5, Shawnee Smith, number 13. That's a great position for Shawnee Smith. Row 3 consists of Karen McGahan, number 2 on the yellow R1. Kevin Madigan is on the sister bike, Dara Core R1M, the sister bike of Kevin Keyes. Declan Madden completes row 3, number 833 on the BMW S1000 RR. Row 4 is newcomer Wayne Tobin, had a great race yesterday in the wet. Let's see if he can translate that to a result in the dry. Alongside number 151, Ronan Waters, and Davin Casey on the GSX R1000 completes row 3, number 888. Row 5 is Marius Kopka, Jack O'Grady, 157, Pat McLaughlin, number 135, Ian Huerty, Darren Tierney, and Almantis Montvillas complete row 6. And Andrew Huerty is on row 7. And from the back of the grid, Michael Sweeney will have to do it all again, as he's done in the Super Twin and Supersport rounds, to get up through the field. But with 12 laps, it certainly wouldn't write him off. So our riders back on the start-finish ahead of their 12 laps. That shower has receded and we are in really dry conditions for these slick tyres. At the moment, we're looking at the lights. There's a perfect start from Alan Kenny, who will get the lead into turn 1. And it looks as though Kevin Keyes has opted to take the inside line and will exit turn 1 in 3rd position. Brian McCormack holding on to 4th at the moment, into turn 3 for the first time of 12. And Alan Kenny has a nice little 2-3 bike length margin, so there could be dice for 2nd, 3rd and 4th that could work in his advantage. The battle goes on there. Brian McCormack sees a slight gap there from Emmett O'Grady, and that brings him up to 3rd place. Of course, the race winner from yesterday. So it's Alan Kenny from Kevin Keyes. Brian McCormack very late on the brakes into Southside Motor Factors. Thought about having a go at Kevin Keyes, but seeing the door was open there at that point, and he'll know that could be an option for race 2, as all our riders from past start finished for the start of lap 2 of 12. Alan Kenny has extended the margin and indeed set the fastest lap of the race, obviously from a standing start with a 58.6, which means that he has a half-second lead over Kevin Keyes and Brian McCormack. In 4th, 5th and 6th is Emmett O'Grady, Shane Conley and Kevin Madigan. Kevin Madigan, of course, a cup rider, having a good out, number 147. And already they're back into Southside Motor Factors. Kevin Keyes has reduced the gap, probably heard Brian McCormack's M1000 in the background and thought he had to get a wiggle on. The leaders passed us once more Alan Kenny's rear wheel skiffing across the tarmac. Brakes getting up to speed, the temperature. And Kevin Keyes does make a move out of turn 1 ahead of Alan Kenny. Brian McCormick now might be eyeing up Alan Kenny as well. So watch the battle for 5th and 6th with Carl McGahan and Kevin Madigan. But the leaders are back into turn 4. Kevin Keyes and Brian McCormick does go under Alan Kenny to take 2nd position on lap 3. Kevin Keyes will see a pit board obviously when he comes back round to start finish once more, indicating that he has a small gap between him, but it was the fastest lap from Kevin Keyes on that last lap. As we watch where Michael Sweeney is at the moment, he was starting back at the grid and he is already up to 7th position. That's a fantastic 3 laps from Michael Sweeney. Back to the leaders, it's Kevin Keyes out on his own now, who has almost a 1 second lead ahead of the chasing pack, Brian McCormick and Alan Kenny. Still a long way to go though. Fastest lap still goes to Kevin Keyes, 54.1. Next up, closest to that, is Brian McCormick with 54.5 and a 54.7 for Alan Kenny. So the pace dropped ever so slightly, but it's not really fair to call the pace dropping with 54 seconds on the Superbike. As the leaders exit Southside Motor Factors once more. Get a shot at Shane Conley on the brakes. Michael Sweeney's made up another place in Kevin Madigan, so Shane Conley will be next up on his list. That's a really impressive ride from Skerry's man. 1/3 race distance is Kevin Keyes, 0.8 of a second ahead of Brian McCormick, with Alan Kenny 2 seconds back from the leader in 3rd. Emmett O'Grady still holding on to that 4th position. With Michael Sweeney on the move, only 3.5 seconds after that, there is not much room for Emmett O'Grady or Shane Conley to manoeuvre. And unless they want the unwanted advances of Michael Sweeney, they will hear him on his BMW S1000 very shortly. Watch footage there of the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th being Kevin Madigan, Andrew Weirty and Carl McGahan. The leaders already gone past us to start lap 5. Kevin Keyes leads by 1.2 seconds from Brian McCormick. Alan Kenny still in 3rd. Emmett O'Grady, Shane Conley, Michael Sweeney now only 1.6 seconds off Shane Conley. So he is going to be shortly able to have a look at Shane Conley's back of Shane Conley's R1M, and he'll be all over him very soon. Kevin Keyes has a commanding lead now as we watch this battle for 6, 7 and 8, a 4-way tie between Kevin, Carl McGahan, Kevin Madigan, Declan Madigan and Jack O'Grady. Carl McGahan number 2 on the yellow R1, and that looks like Jack and Andrew Weirty has got out of that group. Leaders come past again once more, confirming half race distance that it is Kevin Keyes still in the lead, 1.5 seconds ahead of Brian McCormick, 2 seconds back then to Alan Kenny. We're going to keep an eye on Michael Sweeney. Any moment now he's going to have a passing option on Shane Conley. That's the battle for 6th, 7th to 10th going on at the moment. Carl McGahan leads that group from Declan Madden, Jack O'Grady. Kevin Madigan drops back to 11th place. The leader's already got 7 laps completed. Kevin Keyes has now extended the gap to 2 seconds almost from Alan Kenny, 2.2 seconds back. Fastest lap of the race still for Kevin Keyes at 54.012. Brian McCormick's last lap was at 54.6. So just can't seem to carry the pace of the leaders at Kevin Keyes, as we see on screen now, leaves turn 4. That will be 2/3 race distance once we pass the start finish once more. He'll get a good paddock indication from his paddock board, pit board, that he has a gap of 2.4 seconds from Brian McCormick on the Darracor R1M Yamaha. It's Brian McCormick, and Eamon O'Grady's still not out of the fray just yet. He's reeling in Alan Kenny. Somewhat 7 seconds back then to the battle for 5th and 6th. But very little between Shane Connolly and Michael Sweeney at the minute. That's going to be a battle to watch for the next couple of laps, with only 4 laps left of this 12-lap race. It's all going the way of Kevin Keyes at the moment. But as you can see there, Eamon O'Grady has eaten into that gap between himself and Alan Kenny at the moment. Still have 3 or 4 laps to see how that battle ends up. But at the moment, it's Kevin Keyes from Brian McCormick and Alan Kenny. And if Eamon O'Grady can get any more performance from that Tag VTL Honda Fireblade. As we now look at Michael Sweeney and Shane Connolly almost side by side into turn 1. 2 completely different machines, the R1 Yamaha versus the S1000 BMW Michael Sweeney. Michael's going to get a good drive out of turn 2 using that extended line. Let's see what his options are as he pops into, closes in on the brakes. Turn 3, not a place you can really pass on the exit of. We'll see what he can do for turn 4. Still no options. Maybe he might do a last minute lunge on the brakes into Southside Motor Factory, so we'll keep an eye on that battle. Shane Connolly rides a nice defensive line with just 2 laps remaining. Michael Sweeney loses a little bit of time there wheeling that MJR racing BMW S1000 and has to make it up on the brakes, which he does into turn 1. Left-hander out to the country, turn 2. The last lap is being prepared for our leaders as we watch this battle. 5th and 6th that Shane Connolly currently has. Shane's riding impeccably, really. He's not making any mistakes for Michael Sweeney to capitalise on. So if he keeps that pace, and he is circulating in a nice momentum of 54, 55s. Last one was 55.9. Last lap flag is out, so only 5 corners left for Michael Sweeney to figure something out if he wants to take a 4th place. For the moment, the lead is still with Kevin Keyes, who has a 3.2 second gap ahead of Brian McCormick, and then that's 3 seconds back to Alan Kenny, number 114. As we watch Kevin Keyes coast into turn 4 for the last time, and he won't have to check his shoulder. He won't hear any other bikes in the background. Once he got that pass on Alan Kenny, he made the race his own. So nicely, conservatively into Southside Motor Factors for the last time, and will take his first win of the weekend on the Darracor Yamaha R1. Brian McCormick celebrates with a wheelie across the line in 2nd, Alan Kenny 3rd, Eamon O'Grady 4th, as we wait on the battle for 5th and 6th. Michael Sweeney does get past Shane Connolly to take that final 5th place. Andrew Weirty 7th, Carl McGahan 8th. Declan Madden takes the Cup victory. Next up should be Jack O'Grady, and Darren Tierney takes 2nd in the Cup battle. Ronan Waters takes that final Cup podium place in 3rd, number 151, Ronan Waters. And already our pro riders are back in Perk Ferma. So that's confirming the win for Kevin Keys, ahead of Brian McCormick and Alan Kenny back in third. Fourth place again, Emmett O'Grady. Fifth place again, a fantastic ride from Michael Sweeney from the back of the grid once more. Seems to be his pattern, modus operandum for the day. But obviously with a finishing time like that, he will not be starting from the back of the grid in race 3. Sixth place, Shane Conley. Seventh, Andrew Weirty. Eighth, ninth and 10th, Carl McGahan, Declan Madden, winner in the Cup. Darren Tierney, runner-up in the Cup, P2 in 10th. 11th, Jack O'Grady. 12th, Rona Waters taking that final podium position. Kevin Madigan, Davin Casey. From Paul McLaughlin, Marius Kopka, Ian Weirty and Vanis Montulis, and Wayne Tobin retired, as did Shawnee Smith. So all the riders, helmets off. Be pretty tired after 12 laps of that kind of intensity on the short national circuit. And of course incident free, so that's the main thing. So the Cup riders into Parc Fermé along with their pro compatriots as Michael Sweeney tours back in. Should be very content with that 5th position from row 8. And you would fancy that in the next race, with him starting further up the grid, he should be in the mix for at least a podium. But for the moment, it looks as though we are ready for the podium celebration, so we'll hand you over to Fergus Brennan.
Thanks very much, Andy. We're ready to go with our first Superbike podium of the day. Another cracking race there in Superbike, especially in Superbike Cup, where there was a lot of stuff going on. So as usual, we will start with the Cup runners, and in third place was Ronan Waters. Second place is Darren Tierney. Not bad for a man who started off in the B race yesterday and had to qualify from there into the A. Well done, Ronan. There you go. And our winner, Declan Madden. Well done. Hop up there. We'll give you that. There you go. And Declan. Well done, Declan. There you go. So, Ronan, you've taken a couple of wins so far this year, but only third place now.
Look, we have a new bike now on board now this weekend, but we had a laugh yesterday, and we had to go back out onto the Honda, but there was no catching Declan today. He was well on the pace, and you know we're hanging in there. We're getting the podiums and picking up the points. That's all that matters.
And the Honda now, will that be the weapon of choice now for the second race as well?
Yeah, it will. Yeah. The Beamer has a few issues, so we'll come on again now or the next day. So,
but unfortunately for everybody else, when you get the BMW going, you're going to be quicker.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
Well done, Darren. Well done. Up from the B race yesterday, B race into the A race, and now you're on the podium. Well done.
Yes, very happy with that. Nothing more could have expected. Starting near the last. What position am I? Second. So yeah, delighted. Yeah.
You're going well this year.
Going well, yeah. A lot to do yet.
Well, we hope to see you keep progressing.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Declan, hop down there. Declan from DM Groundworks, sponsor of Jack Querty and sponsor of our junior championship. He needs a round of applause for that as well. Back into junior riders, but also quite a handy motorcycle racer and taking a win in the Cup yet again.
Yeah, it's my first ever 55, so I'm happy out.
You're retiring now, are you? You've done a 55.
I probably should, yeah, but sure. We'll give the next race a go and see how it goes.
55 is very fast, considering the top guys are doing 54s.
It is fast, like. But steady to get. It's taken long enough.
Well done, and we look forward to seeing you out again later on. Our top three in the Superbike Cup, Darren, Ronan and Declan. Thank you all very much. Sorry. So we move on to the main race. We just throw our trophies up on the podium here first, obviously. And then we'll call up our top three in the main race overall. And in third place, it was Alan Kenny. Yesterday, unfortunately, didn't finish. Was leading the race yesterday. and took off in the lead again today, but unfortunately didn't get there. And it looks like we have a few people coming up with him as well. And Paddy, are you going to present the awards? Another of our junior riders here, Paddy O'Malley, is going to present the award to Alan Kenny. Thanks very much. Another of the riders who was here yesterday in the FIM Mini GPs. And in second place then, it's Brian McCormick. Bit of a height difference now between Brian and Paddy. Hopefully they can reach each other on the podium. So up there on the second. There you go, Brian's coming down. So well done to Paddy. And then our winner, Kevin Keys. As I said earlier, anyone who wasn't here for the Supersport, Kevin is a mentor to these mini GP youngsters. So he was helping them out yesterday with a bit of coaching and all the rest. So he's well familiar with Paddy, who won one of the races yesterday. Well done to Paddy for winning the race yesterday. Handshakes all round. And now Kevin will get his award from our mini GP race winner from yesterday, Paddy O'Malley. Thanks very much, Paddy. So we go and have a word now. We'd start off here with Alan. Alan, third place, probably not what you were expecting.
Well, look, we'd always be hoping for better, but to be honest, after my run of late, I was happy to finish a race.
Yeah, that you had an off here the last day and then an off yesterday.
Exactly, so look, there was a point in the race where I thought, you know what, get this home, finish.
Yeah. Points, get the points.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Okay, well done, Alan. You have another go, obviously, to think about later as well. Brian, second place. Are you happy with that? You gave him a little bit of a push earlier on, but then I don't think you had quite as much as him at the end of the race.
No, I just couldn't stop. That's a vital part of motorcycling. No, it was good. Kevin got out in front. I had a bit of work to do to get up to second, and then by the time I did that, I just couldn't stop for turn one. I don't think I hit the apex once, so it was a bit of fun, but we'll get a sorted for the next one.
Okay, we'll look forward to that.
We don't like second place.
Who does? Right, Kevin, hop down here. Kevin, another win. First of the weekend.
Second.
Sorry, second of the weekend.
Yeah, no, a good race there. Was fun. Yesterday, after a good battle with Alan, we led most of the race, a bit of swapping, and an unfortunate incident. I thought at the early stages me and Alan were going to finish our unfinished business, but no, the boys are riding great. Darkcore put another great bike under me. No, they worked tirelessly last night after the crash to get the bike going. A few little issues still to try and iron out from the crash yesterday that we discovered mid-race, but all in all, good.
Well, you couldn't have too many issues because you just about failed to get into the 53, so you can't have too many issues.
Yeah, no, it was good. No, the boys done a good job, so looking forward to later on, and hopefully me, Brian and Alan can have a big three-way battle and hopefully do a bit more elbow bashing and have a bit of crack.
Okay, well done. Very well done to all of our top three in the first of our Principal Insurance Superbike races for this afternoon. We've got another one to come, but before then we've got lots more racing. We're going to hand back over to Andy in the top of the tower.
Thanks very much, Fergus. Man, Paddy O'Malley up on the podium again, this time he's dishing it out instead of receiving. Who, of course, has a victory under his belt already this weekend. It's a family affair. Big brother Brian also on the top step. Fair enough. So turn our attention now to our final Moto 400 race of the afternoon, which will be a 12-lap race. Our riders are already out on the circuit, competing their sighting laps. We will pull up a grid once we have them on the dummy grid. So interesting combination machines, new and old, this weekend. Andrew Murphy on pole position on his number 154 NC30 VFR 400. Michael Owens, number 157, veteran already at the tender age of 21, on the FZR 400. And Brian O'Malley completes row 1 on the very refreshed number 8 ZXR 400, competing in the British Super Teens, fresh back from Knockhill last weekend. Row 2 is Cian McSweeney. Middle of row 2, number 81, Damien Horgan on that blue FZR 400RR. James Ging completes row 2, number 70 on the ZXR 400. Row 3 sees Peter Doherty alongside Conor McCarthy and Chris Gray, number 67. As we watch the light, and they're away. Not a great start from Andrew Murphy. He fluffed that somewhat. So as we wait to see who's first into turn 1, Andrew Murphy does get it away nicely in the end from Michael Owens and Brian O'Malley. Out of turn 2 for the first time. We are looking at the battle for second, third and fourth between Cian McSweeney, Brian O'Malley and Michael Owens. Andrew Murphy has already created a small gap, and we'll have the evidence of that very shortly as they come around Southside Motor Factors. It's already Andrew Murphy with it, maybe 1-2 second gap lead already, cutting a lonely figure into Southside Motor Factors. Brian O'Malley has promoted himself up to second position. As we wait the lap times to pop up, it's going to be the fastest lap for Andrew Murphy, clearly with a 103.8. The next one is Brian O'Malley with a 105.4, but they'll drop as we watch into turn 1 for the second time on a flying lap. The gap is 1.5 seconds from Andrew Murphy back to Brian O'Malley, and then 2.5 seconds back to Michael Owen from the lead. Fourth place is Damien Horgan from Cian McSweeney. Chris Gray is 6th. James King 7th. Ben Milan got a flyer of a start, number 7, up to 8th position. And then Cian McSweeney and Roy West complete the top 10. As we watch our riders come back, leaders back into turn 4. That's Damien Horgan, who is lining up Michael Owens. And we see if he can do anything as Andrew Murphy gets the bike stopped and turned for Southside Motor Factors. Damien Horgan is practically alongside number 157, Michael Owens. So we'll see a sharp drop in the lap times now as they buzz the tower. Start lap 3 of 12. And it is still the fastest lap by almost a second for Andrew Murphy. Brian O'Malley into the 59s, everybody else the 1 minute plus. And it's Damien Horgan ruffling the feathers of number 157, Michael Owens. Still might cut a move here into turn 3. Damien Horgan. Again, we get great footage of this turn 3. Probably shown better by the 400s, how different a corner it is. And Damien Horgan has made a pass stick on Michael Owens coming out of turn 3 and holds that position out of turn 4 as we watch Brian O'Malley hard on the brakes into Southside Motor Factors. It's Andrew Murphy still leading, plus 3 seconds, 7 seconds for Brian O'Malley. Damien Horgan, of course, up to 3rd. Michael Owen, Cian McSweeney, James King. Cian McSweeney 989 in 7th. Ben Milan holding on to 8th position, and number 37 is Conor McCarthy. Conor McCarthy is in 9th position, and Roy West, number 58 on the ZXR 400, completes your top 10. So as we watch Damien Horgan extend his lead, 3rd place position into turn 4. Nothing Michael Owens seemingly can do about this. Perhaps tyre wear from the previous 2 races has come into effect. Brian O'Malley still has 2nd position. A little bit back is Damien Horgan and Michael Owens. Next up should be James Ging, number 70. And 67 is Chris Gray. Cian McSweeney 9897. The remaining pack come into turn 2. That's Damien Horgan again, increasing his margin to 1.8 seconds ahead of Michael Owens. Drops the bike, picks it up, drops it again. hit those 2 apexes and then exit. We have still 8 laps left in this race. Andrew Murphy has a 5.6 advantage, second advantage over Brian O'Malley at the moment on the ZXR 400 versus the V4 Honda that Andrew Murphy has. No Stephen Tobin this weekend. Andrew Murphy cuts a lonely figure into turn 1 alone. 6 seconds now adrift Brian O'Malley, and then 3-4 seconds back to Damien Horgan and Michael Owens. Fastest lap of the race for Andrew Murphy at 58.9. Everybody else is 59s or above. Damien Horgan is in the 1 minute flats also. So your podium at the moment looks like Andrew Murphy, Brian O'Malley and Damien Horgan. So Honda ahead of Kawasaki, ahead of Yamaha. Michael Owens also on a Yamaha, James Ging on a Kawasaki, Chris Gray, Kawasaki. Cian McSweeney, I'm not quite sure. Cian is on an FZR. Conor McCarthy, number 37, FZR also. So there must be a FZR shop somewhere out open still in Cork. As we spy Damien Horgan, Andrew Murphy clip turn 2 and head out to the country. We are half race distance. Last lap for Andrew Murphy was a 59.3, marginally slower than his best of 58.9, but he has a huge gap of 7 seconds extended at the moment from Brian O'Malley and Damien Horgan. The field is nicely spread out now. Michael Owen, James Ging, Chris Gray, 4th, 5th and 6th. We have Andrew Murphy up the inside of the black marker there. That was Damien Higgins, number 940. From Sligo on a CBR 400. Not too many CBR 400s in the Moto 400 category. That's Limerick man Andrew Murphy once more, who has a 7.8 second lead from Brian O'Malley. Just watching Chris Gray and Conor McCarthy at the moment. So we are back with the leaders. A 2/3 race distance at the moment. Still Andrew Horgan 8 seconds. Damien Horgan still holding on to that 3rd position, 14 seconds adrift of the lead. Michael Owens, James Ging, Cian McCarthy, Conor McCarthy are 4th, 5th and 6th. That's 157. Michael Owens passing the tower now, and here comes James Ging on the black ZXR. That's Chris Gray, number 87. Chris Gray 67. 989 is Cian McSweeney from Cork on the FZR 400. Start lap 9 out of 12. And that is number 34. Peter Doherty from Roscommon on a ZXR 400. Just behind him, number 982, Eamon McKeown from Antrim. This is Brian O'Malley once more. Behind for 154, Limerick, Andrew Murphy with 8.1 second of a lead. Last lap was a minute, so he's obviously getting signals from the pit board to say that he doesn't need to push any harder with the margin of 8.2 seconds back to Brian O'Malley. The fastest lap of the race still for Andrew Murphy, so he shows he has the potential to go quicker, but there's no need at this closing stages of this 12 lap race with 3 laps to go and a margin of 8.2 seconds. He can control the gap for the rest of this race and hopefully take his points tally to a high in the Moto 400 Championship. And here is Andrew Murphy. And next time round, the last lap flag will be prepared for him. See, is there a pit board? And he's got a good pit board. These are very useful pieces of information that pit boards can supply for these extended races, just to let them know. You probably see the gap come in ever so slightly now. No, still 8.87, so he still has the hammer dropped. Last lap was a 59 flat, so he's been very like a metronome to complete those 59-second laps. Best lap of 59, 8.9 for the race. Lap record so far in this race is Andrew Murphy's. And we watched Limerick rider come in turn 4 on his own. But the pit board won't need to check his shoulders. And out of the S's into the final corner, Southside Motor Factors, as the last lap flag is being prepared. That's 9.82. Eamon McKeown from Antrim on FZR 400. A lap back. Murphy on his last lap. See that back marker in the distance, but won't have any effect on his race with that gap gone out to 10.1 seconds now. Last lap from Brian O'Malley was 1:00. Best lap of 59, so it'll really drop into the 58s. And that is your race leader with one corner left to go. Andrew Murphy stands the bike up into Southside Motor Factors for the last time. The checker flag should be ready at this point. And it's a win for Andrew Murphy. We're waiting on Brian O'Malley, who duly appears from Southside Motor Factors. More silverware for the O'Malley family to cart back home. And next up should be Damien Horgan, who completes the podium on the FZR 400 RR or SP, not quite sure. And now we are waiting on Michael Owens, 157. Then it's James Gain. Next up should be Conor McCarthy and Chris Gray. Keane McSweeney safely home. Now we're waiting on Ben Milan, number 72. Holds on to that 9th position. And there should be 34, Peter Doherty and Eamon McKeown. And that is indeed all the riders through the checkered flag, as the podium celebrants are already back in Park Fermot. Some of these riders don't even look after breath after 12 frantic laps of the national circuit. So again, your classification for that 400 race was a win, another win for Andrew Murphy, ahead of number 8 Brian O'Malley. 3rd position, number 81 Damien Horgan. 4th Michael Owens. 5th James Ging. 6th Conor McCarthy. 7th Chris Gray. 8th place Keane McSweeney. 9th place Ben Milan. 10th place Eamon McKeown. And with that, we will hand you over to Fergus Brennan for the Moto 400 Race 3 celebration.
Thanks, Andy. One of our quieter podiums, one of the few classes where we've only got one set of awards to give out. We'll have a slight delay before we get that, probably about 30 seconds. So we'll probably just go over to an ad break for that. We've a little bit of break between the Motor 400s and the sidecars. So we'll just take a quick break and we'll be back in a second.
The Masters Superbike Championship is brought to you by Principal Insurance, part of Howden. For motorbike, car, van and home insurance, Principal Insurance have you covered. Get a quote today. The Masters Superbike Championship is brought to you by Principal Insurance, part of Howden. For motorbike, car, van and home insurance, Principal Insurance have you covered. Get a quote today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a slight delay in our programme now because we have some of our Motor 400 riders are actually out as passengers in the sidecar race, so they requested a slight delay. But we have something to fill a little part of that delay. We've got the Motor 400 podium, so we're going to get on with that, and we're going to ask Damien Horgan, our third place rider, to make his way up. Come on, Damien, come up to us. And we have another one of our mini GP competitors for 10 to 14 year olds, one of the taller end of the spectrum, I think, in terms of the mini GP guys, which can be a problem on such small bikes. But Jordan McGann was actually our scholarship winner this year, and he's riding the Mondello Park and Motorcycling Ireland bike, so well done to him. And in second place, it's Brian O'Malley, not Brendan O'Malley. And funny enough, Brian was the last winner of our scholarship, and he rode the Mondello Park Motorcycling Ireland bike before Jordan McGann. And that was why Jordan asked, could he present these awards? And our winner is Andrew Murphy. So hopefully we'll see Jordan make the same amount of progression from the mini class up onto the podiums here at the more senior races here at Mondello Park. Thanks very much to Jordan. So third place, Damien. You have a couple of young fellas there beating you. What are you going to do about it?
I don't know what I'm going to do. Have to have me with the bikes a wee bit earlier in the morning or something. But there's no catching Andrew. Andrew's away up the road. I was hoping to kind of tag with Brian a wee bit, but no, he was away as well. So a bit of a lonely third, but not too bad.
You guys are getting some great performance. I know Brian's on a newer bike, but you guys are getting some great performance out of those very old bikes.
Yeah, like myself and Andrew's bike,
they're getting on for 30 years old. That bike's 1990. I'd say Andrews is something similar. So yeah, you're riding the wheels off them now at this stage, but
it's amazing. Well done. The lap times are fantastic. Brian, you're on a slightly newer bike that you normally race, or the same kind as you race in the British Super Teens Championship. You're doing very well on it. You've had a couple of wins this year, so I'm sure you're glad you've taken this chance to get some extra mileage here in Ireland.
Yeah, I'm delighted. It was a really good race. Andrew just pulled a big gap from me, and I didn't want to risk trying to catch him, and I knew I had a good enough gap from third place, so I just held the second and take the points for the championship.
Yeah, the championship is very much in your mind as well, with dropped scores and stuff like that. Anything could still happen.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be well up there in the championship, because I'll be able to get all the rest of the rounds now, and really looking forward to it.
Okay, well done, Brian. And now we'll come to Andrew. Andrew, hop down there. Another win to your long count of wins in all sorts of classes. So Superbike Cup, Supersport Cup, Supersport. So are you enjoying still riding the Moto 400?
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's good fun class. Like, you know, it's, of course, the super sports and the super bikes are so expensive now to run. Like, it's very hard for myself to run a bike like that. So the 400 is, you know, it's cheap and cheerful. Like, you know, a set of tyres to do a couple of rounds and stuff like that. So it's good. It's good fun. Yeah.
And the times that you knock out of these would probably get you well up on a superbike grid anyway, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we were going, even yesterday on the weight, I think we were nearly one of the fastest classes in the weight. Like, you know, we were quicker than Super Twins and everything. I think the Super Sport were only a second quicker than us, I think. So yeah, we were going well, yeah. But in the dry, we're getting good times now. And fair play to the lads. All the lads are riding really well, like in this class. There's a lot of good riders there, so it's really brought on the class a lot, so fair play to them as well.
Okay, well done to all of you. Some great bikes, lovely old bikes there, and the new one, all producing similar performance. Great performances by all three, by Brian, Damien and by Andrew. Thank you all very much. We're going to hand back over to Andy. We're almost ready now for our sidecars that we had that little bit of a delay before.
So our sidecar, a little bit premature there from Ryan Deneen. Our sidecar riders are all limbered up for their final jaunt of the afternoon, which will be thankfully an 8-lap race, where yesterday we had to shorten all our practice qualifying sessions and race distances to facilitate the inhospitable weather that we had. Today. These riders disappear to the distance. We will give you a pole position of Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland. Seem to have an issue in lap 1 of the previous race. Maybe they have that resolved. Darren O'Dwyer, number 71, with Mark Gash in the chair, completes row 1. Row 2 is Paul Clark and Stephen Daly. Ryan Deneen and Fran Newton are completing row 2. And with 1 lap under their belt, Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash have the lead. As we look at the battle for 5th and 6th, so that is Ian McCarthy. And here comes Eugene Kettle into the fray in 6th position, up 1 spot. Now you are looking at your battle for 4th, 5th and 6th between Aidan McCarthy, Craig King, number 53. 1 position behind them is Ryan Deneen and Fran Newton, and then that's Eugene Kettle and Luke Galligan, I think, that's in the chair for the Nightmare Racing F2. And there's Fergus Woodlock. Fergus Woodlock has James Ging, so James Ging will sleep tonight, having jumped from the 400 Moto 400 race to the back of the sidecar with Fergus Woodlock, who's alongside Eugene Kettle at the moment. Has a look around the outside, but Eugene Kettle holds his line and will hold the advantage into turn 2. The lead still with Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash, with Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland in 2nd. 3rd position still with Paul Clark and Stephen Daly. Suzuki 1000cc Baker Suzuki. We turn our attention back to the battle for 5th and 6th. Currently going the way of Ryan Deneen and Fran Newton, but Eugene Kettle with Luke Galligan in the passenger seat. Maybe get alongside on the entrance, and it looks like Eugene Kettle will make a pass into Southside Motor Factors, and see who's got the power advantage down the straight. As we watch the foreground, Aidan McCarthy and Craig King on that 1000cc machine. We have 3 outfits into turn 1 at the moment, and we flick back to turn 4. We see the number 71 machine of Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash, another 1000cc F1 Baker machine, Baker chassis, Suzuki power, and there Mark Codd, Eamon Mulholland are in 2nd place, some 6.3 seconds back. We're already 4 laps into this 8-lap race. As Paul Clark and Stephen Daly pass the tower to complete their half race distance. And here you have it, foreground, Luke Fergus Woodlock and James King. And now into shot you see Fergus. This is Fergus Woodlock, number 34. And now we're into turn 4. We see Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash still holding on to that first position. Gap extended in the lead to 8.8 seconds from Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland. That's a LCR carbon fibre chassis 1000cc F1 bike. Just check the gap again. It's Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland. Pass the tower once more. Gap extended to 10.2 seconds. And unfortunately a retirement for Ryan Deneen and Fran Newton, number 16 there. I think they're back in Park Ferma already. And this is number 53. Aidan McCarthy and Craig King. And next up is Eugene Kettle. I'm pretty sure that is Luke Galligan, hanging on the back of that number 34 bike of Fergus Woodlock, dropped back down to 7th, passenger by James King, driven by Fergus Woodlock. See, tightening the gap in this battle for 4th, 5th and 6th between Paul Clark and Stephen Daly. And last lap flag is being deployed already. That was a quick race. Not much time to catch our breath from the 400 Motor 400 race straight into the sidecars. And the gap is 14 seconds for Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland, up to the leaders Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash. Last lap flag being prepared for the leaders as we watch Eugene Kettle on the Nightmare Racing LCR. And here come the leaders to take the last lap flag. Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash. And next into shot should be number 18. Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland. Of course, you can see the tyre smoke in the distance. Nothing for to be alarmed about with the drift competition going on the back end of the circuit. Might confuse some of our home viewers. And out of turn 3 for the last time this weekend, Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash, who cruise out of the S's. Here they come from Southside Motor Factors. So that confirms the win for Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash. Starting on P2, row 1, they overhaul. They overhaul their contenders in the championship, who are approaching the start-finish now. Number 18, Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland on the Cosmic Race in LCR. Next up should be Paul Clark and Stephen Daly, and indeed they do take a podium. P3. Next up should be Aidan McCarthy and Craig King, number 53. It's a three-way battle. Well, it looks as though Fergus Woodlock has had a cracking last lap. No, are they a lap back? It is Aidan McCarthy and Craig King that do take 4th place, and then 5th place went to Eugene Kettle and Luke Galligan. And the remaining outfit back in top gate. See Fergus Woodlock and James Ging return to park to their paddock positions. So just confirming the win for Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash, ahead of Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland. Paul Clark and Stephen Daly, number 73, 3rd. Diarmuid McRaymond and Anthony McDonnell on the Jacobs Yamaha are 4th. 53 was 5th, Aidan McCarthy and Craig King. Eugene Kettle, Luke Galligan 6th. Fergus Woodlock and James Ging 7th. Philly Newton and James Evans back one lap in 8th. And DNF then for Ryan Deneen and Fran Newton. So riders out of their outfits and helmets off, where they will pick up their final podium trophies for this afternoon. We will see them again in the July round, 10, 11 and 12, the Principal Insurance Masters Sidecar Championship. So we're getting through the program nicely in this almost sunny weather conditions at the moment. And from our vantage point in the tower, it looks as though our sidecar competitors are ready to pick up their silverware for the weekend. So we are ready to go. Over to you, Fergus.
Yeah, we have our final sidecar podium of the weekend, and there's a few additional awards to give out with this one. We'll try and get through it as quick as possible because I know we're ready to go with the next Supersport race. We have the Pat Sheridan Award, which is for the overall that the sidecar guys have worked out on their own across the 3 races this weekend. But we'll start with our first race, our third race result, get the race result out of the way. And our winners, the winners are in 3rd place is Clark and Daly. Paul Clark, well, up you come, Paul Clark, and our 2nd place is Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland, and our winners Darren O'Dwyer and Mark Gash. Well done. Thank you very much. Thanks a well done. Thank you. As far as I know, Mark, it's the same group, so we're not going to talk to anybody then until we swap everybody around and we do the other awards. So I'm going to stand back now, and the Pat Sheridan Award is going to be presented by, sorry, I've forgotten your name. And Sheridan. Sorry about that. And you're going to present the third place. So, Mark, you need to reorganise this. It's a bit hectic here. I need all sorts of shuffling around going on here. So, overall for the weekend, these guys have changed their positions now, and we'll give out those awards. So, Darren and Mark get third place. And we may not have time for interviews after all this, but we'll keep going. Second place now to be presented. And then our winners overall for the weekend, Mark, very soon, Mark Codd and Eamon Mulholland, our winners overall for the weekend. So we'll talk, I'm afraid we're not going to get to talk to everybody. We'll talk to our race winners here, and then we'll talk to our overall winners. So race winners, how was that?
Oh, mega. We struggled with the bike realistically start of the year. Did a little bit of work, stuck in a different power plant into it, and we were 0.2 of a second off lap record in the first race today, so this man is driving the wheels off it. Brilliant fun.
Okay, well, we yet to see. We didn't get a confirmation, but you thought you might be on lap record. But if we find that out, we'll announce it at one of the later podiums, because it's always good to hear of a lap record going. And now the boys here over the highest point scorers over the weekend. Apparently, Eamon is doing the talking. So, Eamon, that's a good result for you over the 3 races.
Yeah, over the 3 races, a good weekend. Really struggled there in that one slight gear issue at the start, and then just lost grip, back tires gone. But good weekend overall, with good race in the wet, and yeah, no, but if these boys didn't get a DNF, they'd be standing here.
Thank you all very much. We're getting ready to go now with Supersport. We can't delay too much. We've got to get ourselves over to the grid to Jim Halligan, so we'll take a quick break and then we'll return on the grid with Jim Halligan.
Thanks very much, Fergus. Yeah, we're back up here. Now, again, not much time to catch our breath as we steamroll through this busy programme of afternoon racing. And we've got another belter coming up. The Principal Insurance Supersport Race 3 is next up. So we don't see the pit lane open just yet. But this could be quite the adventure for riders with 14 laps this time out. Pit lane is now open. So that are looking for our Supersport Pro riders and Cup riders to pit lane. Brandon Kavanagh first out of the traps. And once around for 2 laps, we will have your grid on screen. For the moment, we'll enjoy these pictures from around the circuit, brought to you by See It Live, who are the guys in the background that you don't see working. Thanks very much, Martin and Katie and Kieran. And of course, we haven't forgotten Ronan. And Dave, definitely not Dave. We better not forget Dave, because we wouldn't even think Dave is here because we've never met him. Anyway, onwards and upwards. So back to the Supersport Pro race. We will produce a grid for you when we see all our riders on the grid. We will have most likely grid interviews for you also. Track temperature is on the rise here, as you would expect, with these practically sunny conditions starting to appear. And the Sidecar boys can pack up for the evening and enjoy the last 4 or 5 races before they take their leave until the July Principal Insurance Masters round. We are enjoying at the moment 7, 8 and 9. And we have 27 bikes on the grid for this 14-lap race. As we take a look at Emmett O'Grady roll up to his position on the dummy grid. We can see number 4, Kevin Baker, also competing in Super Twins. So as the riders take their position on the grid, we will hand you over to James Halligan, who will give us some insights to the Supersport guys. Over to you, James.
To the final Principal Supersport 600 race, and one of the title contenders, Emmett O'Grady. Emmett, fantastic race.
Yeah, great race in the last one. I suppose it was small but disappointing not to not to take it home, but what can I say? Try my best, and we're going to go again.
You had everyone on the tips of their toes. It was probably one of the best races we've seen here in years.
Yeah, I was. Wouldn't say I thought I had it, but I tried to make a move going into turn 1 to pass the two back markers, but just dived that bit too much and dragged myself wide. Came out of it truthfully in the wrong gear, came out in third gear instead of second, and Oisin obviously had the gap just to railroad it around it. We go again.
I was looking at the lap times. There's absolutely zero between you lap times.
Yeah, and I suppose at this level there is nothing. You can't give them a gap. Once you get past, you just have to lock on. If a half second becomes a half second, it's hard to find that back. So it's going to be tight. I could see Kevin was struggling a bit with engine brake on his bike, and to be fair, when he passed me, I latched onto him and I thought he was going to pull me with him, but he was struggling a bit, and then Oisin passed, so I knew straight away then there was going to be a bit of a dogfight. So yeah, 600 racing.
I have to say to you, fantastic racing, and great to see you both up here. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll go back to the next row here, and young Jack Werty making a big name for himself in the Supersport class. Jack done a wise thing yesterday, sat out the rain. I think that was a wise decision.
Yeah, 100%. I wasn't feeling comfortable. I went out in qualifying and done the whole session, and come the race I wasn't feeling it, so I was kind of praying last night. We had a good run today, so bit of a disaster having to start from the back in the last one, but we got a podium then in the cup in the end, and I'm here now, so this is where I want to be. So
So tell us, this is your second year on the 600. You're getting very, very, very close to the front.
Yeah, getting there. Look, I'm just taking every day as it comes. Like, we've 2 years. This is the first proper year. We didn't have much racing last year, so got 1 or 2 races in Bishop's Court and Kirkestown, but you're not consistently on it. But here now we're getting a full tight championship in, and we're going to try to take the championship to the last round if we can.
Well, we're delighted to see you making great progress, and hopefully we'll see you on the podium.
Hopefully.
Well done, Jack. We'll go across to the middle of the second row here. Try and grab a word with Mick Sweeney. Micko, welcome back, lad.
Thanks very much. Yep.
Good TT.
Yeah, steady way. We took it. I wanted to stay inside the top 20 in after missing the year last year, and I done that, so I was quite happy with that.
It's a hard place to go back, and people say, "Oh, you only missed a year." It feels like a lifetime.
I know. Yeah. Once you miss a year, it's obviously 2 years, because by the time you get round again. But look, I got a little bit stiff and sore in a couple of the Superbike races, but look, I was expecting that.
You took a bit of a pounding at the Northwest, and we were just saying yesterday that was a wise decision. You sat out the whole wet day. It was awful.
Yeah, I didn't want to risk it, you know what I mean? So I said we'd just wait today and got in the back of the grid and see where we end up.
How do you find the body on the short circuits?
Yeah, not too bad, to be fair. Well, these 14 lap races are bloody torture. So you know me, Jim, I'd rather now 6 or 7 lap race would be fine.
A man after my own heart. An out lap, an in lap, and a go home lap.
Yeah, definitely. Just
you're enjoying the short circuits anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Look, it's nice to come down here. It's a bit of crack. You know what I mean? The lads are all sound and the crowd is good, so I'm down for a bit of fun.
There's a great bit of banter. We're missing Derek this weekend for the real banter, but we haven't seen him at all. I thought he'd turn up.
No, I thought he would have been down myself once he knew we were all coming down, but he probably has something else on. But sure, next time hopefully we'll be all here.
Well, great to see you here. All right, thanks, Mick.
Cheers, thanks.
And another man we could probably do with having a word with is Kevin Keys. Kevin, you made your TT debut a few weeks ago. You still have the flies nearly.
Yeah, flies are still on me. I think that's what's holding us back here this weekend. I'm going to get out of them.
Well, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, to be honest, like I've told everyone, it's no real secret. Monday, I absolutely hated it. I was as tense as a board on the bike. But no, as the week eased in, everything got better, you know, and it was a great atmosphere over there. Like it was a really nice vibe. The other riders on track were showing you your lines, and then Brian McCormick, Michael Sweeney, they brought me out in cars, and to be honest, like, them boys are serious around there, and the voice I took off them was class, so it really made my week a lot more enjoyable, and by the end of it, I was smiling.
You need your head examined getting in the car with either of those.
Yeah, I know, yeah. They gave me a drink, and whatever was in it, I was happy out getting in with them, so I don't know what it was. But
and no speed limits on over the mountain in the cars as well?
I didn't think there was a speed limit anywhere in the mountain the way them boys were driving, but or anywhere in the island. But no, it was good crack. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and it's good to be back in a sunny Mondello Park.
You slotted in well. You're flying on the big bike as well.
Yeah, big bike went well there in that last one. We had a few issues with the engine brake in the 600 in that first race. It just chattered my brains out trying to get her stopped. But the boys worked mad hard there between them races, so hopefully it's sorted and get a three-way bike battle here at the front.
Well, it's great to see you up here again, and we will hope to see you on the top step.
I'd like to see it up there too, Jim.
Thanks, Kevin, and back to Andy, please.
Thanks, Jim. A very lucky man getting a grid walk in those glorious conditions down there. But that's the chit-chat over. Now we get down to business to see who's going to take this final Supersport, Principal Insurance Supersport race of the afternoon. And our riders get their grid prepared with their tyre warmers off and paddock stands down, and soon we will have them underway for 2 sighting laps. All the technical personnel get off the grid. We get ourselves underway, and when they're underway we'll put up our start positions on the screen. So all our riders are in their correct positions. We don't have any issues. We're waiting on the green flag from the back before John Rock will let our riders off. And it makes quite a difference in tyre choice from yesterday. Slicks everywhere. So here is your starting positions for this final Principal Insurance Supersport race of the afternoon. Pole position again, it's Oisin Maher from Emmett O'Grady, both on the AK Thomas Bourne Racing CBR 600Rs. And P3 on row 1 is Kevin Keyes on the Darracor Yamaha R6. And no surprise to see Michael Sweeney improve his position from back of the grid to top of row 2 for this Supersport race. 5th position will be Jack Huerty, Cup rider, and Kevin Baker. Clay rider is number 4, completing row 2. Row 3 is Dara Crane, Andrew Huerty, number 321, Michael Gillen. Row 4, Des McKessie, Jason Whelan, number 11, number 280, and number 51, Keith Richardson, closes out row 4. Row 5, Brandon Kavanagh, Keelan Smith and Gary Riley. James Walsh, Stephen Tobin and Shane Mulligan complete row 6. Row 7 is Liam Chog, number 44, from Robert O'Connell and Alex O'Grady. Martin Burnett, Vinnie Brennan and Jack Mears top out row 8. And your final row then is Stephen Heelan, Damien Horgan, freshman over 400 outing in row 9 also. And last is number 58, Matthew McGowan. There's the last of our riders coasting out of Southside Motor Factors. Get the last bit of heat into those front tyres and brake discs before the battle into turn 1 commences. Again, 14 laps to finish off our Supersport campaign for this weekend. John Rock has his green flag up, so we're ready to go. Lights are red. We will be underway any moment now. Great start from Emmett O'Grady. He may lead into turn 1. We just have to wait to see who's the latest on the brakes. Oh, bit of a wobble from Emmett there, but kept the bike upright, which is the main thing. Oisin Maher has been handling the advantage then with that shimmy from Emmett, and will lead into turn 3 for the first time. Looks like Kevin Keys goes under Emmett O'Grady also to take up second position. Turn 3. The advancing Kevin Keys. Emmett O'Grady still in the hunt. Turn 4 to Southside Motor Factors. Kevin Keys having a look under Oisin Maher, and he does make the pass. Has Oisin anything in the tank? Neck and neck down the straight, as you can see. It's going to be a battle of the wits who's hardest on the brakes. And Oisin Maher, that's a fine fight back, a great recovery. We have a 4-way tie for 3 podium places. Michael Sweeney's in the mix, so don't discount him just yet. Emmett O'Grady just a little bit back, 2/3 hundredths of a second from the pair battling for the lead that is currently held by Oisin Maher. Back in 5th and 6th, Jack Queerty and Kevin Baker are having a bit of a battle. Kevin Keys goes under Oisin Maher again around the inside of turn 4. Let's see what Oisin, can he make that drive down the straight, stick again. All nice and neat and tidy in the early stages of this 14-lapper. You might see Kevin Keys maybe try and break the toe of Oisin Maher. Oisin couldn't get in on the brakes. Mick O'Sweeney is all over Emmett O'Grady at the moment. So at the moment, with 4 riders in front, this podium could go any way. Kevin Keys still leads. Fastest lap at the moment for Michael Sweeney at 55.6. Kevin Keys just broke the toe slightly from Oisin Maher. Emmett O'Grady back in the hunt for second position. Kevin Keys very strong on the brakes there. Fastest sector time is sector 2. You might see a fastest lap of the race for Kevin Keys, and he does go fastest with a 55 flat. Still commands this Supersport race half a second back to Oisin Maher, who has Emmett O'Grady to contend with, and Emmett O'Grady has Michael Sweeney to contend with. Not quite sure what the biggest threat at the moment is, but I would, as a betting man, I wouldn't write off Michael Sweeney stepping up to the podium. He's not here to make up numbers on his MJ Racing R6 Yamaha, competing against the AK Thomas Bourne Racing Supersport Hondas. The R6 in front is Kevin Keys, Darracor Racing R6. And it is still Michael Sweeney in 4th, 2 Honda 600 in his field of vision. Kevin Keys extends his lap ever so slightly, 2.6 of a second now, with another fastest lap, 54.983. All the other riders are in the 55s or greater. For the moment, it's Kevin Keys who leads from Oisin Maher. Emmett O'Grady in the cup battle, Jack Queerty, number 267, leads Michael Gillen and Brandon Kavanagh. We are focusing on our leaders as they come into the field of vision. It's still Oisin behind Kevin Keys. Emmett O'Grady. See if Michael Sweeney can break out of that P4 for the moment. Not just yet. Kevin Baker overhauls Jack Queerty for 5th position on the road. Kevin, of course, in the Pro Championship. Jack Queerty is still a Supersport Cup rider. We're looking at Michael Gillen, who is in a battle with I'll just pick them up on the time and screen at the minute. Andrew Weirty, perhaps. As our leaders come back into shot, Emma O'Grady goes under Oisin Maher. And we'll see who the lap times are like as they buzz the tower once more. Yeah, another fastest lap for Kevin Keyes, but he's overhauled by Emma O'Grady, who was the fastest lap of the race at the moment, 54.8.6. Michael Sweeney is getting faster and faster, closing in on Oisin Maher maybe. As we look at Oisin trying to reel back in, Emma O'Grady ran slightly wide on the outside of turn 3, which will give him a greater drive into turn 4, but he's not in a position to make any moves on Emma O'Grady at the moment. And we are not even half race distance just yet. Let's see what the lap times do as the fuel load comes down and tyres reach their optimum temperature. Fastest lap still for Emma O'Grady, who puts in a fastest sector 1. The gap is down to half a second between Kevin Keyes and Emma O'Grady. So plenty of time for Emma O'Grady to make inroads. That half-second lead of Kevin Keyes. Oisin Maher still under the watchful eye of Michael Sweeney, both as a mentor and as a racer at the moment. Michael Sweeney might want to give away too much more information. Has Michael Sweeney got ahead of... Looks like Michael Sweeney has passed Oisin. We'll check your riders as they come into shot another time. Michael Sweeney's passed Emma O'Grady, who is dropped back to 4th position at the moment. So your leader board looks slightly different, with Kevin Keyes leading from Oisin Maher and Michael Sweeney. So it must have been a bit of an issue for Emma O'Grady somewhere there, because his last lap time was a 56.8 and he was in the 54, so he definitely dropped over 2 seconds in that previous lap, whatever happened. We need to keep an eye. We'll take a look. Don't think we have a replay of what happened there, but we will continue with the leaders. The 9 laps of 14 completed. Fastest lap the race still for Emma O'Grady, but it wasn't his last lap was the fastest. So he's got plenty of time to make up for that and see if he can hunt down Michael Sweeney, who will have Oisin Maher on his mind. Nicely done from Oisin around Southside Motor Factors. This will be coming up to 2/3 race distance with 4 laps left. It's still Kevin Keyes with a gap of a second back to Oisin Maher. Michael Sweeney still in 3rd. In the cup positions, it's Jack Weirty who leads Brandon Kavanagh from Michael Gillen. And leaders back into turn 4. Everybody, top 4 riders circulating in around that 54 bracket. Emma O'Grady, another fastest lap of the race, so whatever bobble he had on lap 8, he has restored parity and has the fastest lap of the race. But all top 4 riders are in that 54-second bracket. 54.8, 54.9, 54.8, 54.5. So it's not all over for Emma O'Grady yet. He has lots of time to size up Michael Sweeney on the R6. And the riders head out to turn 3. Watch, see if Emma can make any inroads. He does close the gap to Michael Sweeney, but there's no room to get under just at the moment. So might maybe try and get an extra drive to have a look if there's any gaps in turn 4, which there isn't. So flip-flop from the S's back up to Southside Motor Factors, and back markers are already in the fray. This could have an impact. We've seen it earlier on in the day. The Super Twins and the Supersport races. Kevin Keyes gives them a wide berth. That's number 172, Stephen Heelan. And hopefully all 4 riders can get past before turn 1. Stephen Heelan does his best to get out of the way, but that's cost a lot of time for Michael Sweeney and Emmett O'Grady. Nothing much really Stephen Heelan could do about that. It's just an awkward place on the circuit to encounter traffic. And we're on lap 12 of 14. More pack markers in the fray. That has allowed Oisin Maher to close right in on Kevin Keyes. Now, we've seen Oisin earlier on make a braking manoeuvre on Kevin Keyes, and he's done it again with 2 laps left to go. And let's see which is the bike with the fastest, bigger top end. At the moment, it's Oisin who's able to drag Kevin Keyes down the line, and Kevin, he just went a little bit wide there, showed a little bit too much space to Kevin Keyes. So Kevin Keyes is going to look at that. With 2 laps left to go, he's going to be aware that there could be a gap for him to exploit, but it's still Oisin who holds the advantage as we come into the penultimate lap. Next time round, the last lap flag will be shown to these riders, and Emmett O'Grady has made good his escape from Michael Sweeney to hold on to that third. Kevin Keyes ducks under, and Oisin Maher slides out of turn 4. That's really unfortunate from the rider. It's the slightest of errors there, and the bike is down. He's up. He's 100% all right. It was just an unfortunate error that has made Oisin slide out. As the last lap flag is being shown, Kevin Keyes will lead now from Emmett O'Grady and Michael Sweeney in 3rd position. A long way back then to Kevin Baker, number 4. So that's a very disappointing end to Oisin Maher. We may get a look at that again maybe later on, but we're on our last lap now at the minute as the leaders go into turn 3. Some back markers staying out of the action, take a wide line out of not obstructing their leaders who are into turn 4 for the last time, where Oisin of course had that unfortunate slide. And it's going to be Kevin Keyes with that Shane Mulligan, or it's going to be Emmett O'Grady steals the win from Kevin Keyes there. We missed that manoeuvre into Southside Motor Factors with the traffic, so it's going to be a win for Emmett O'Grady. Kevin Keyes 2nd, Michael Sweeney 3rd. It said not to write him off as a podium, and he indeed capitalises on that error from Oisin. Just wait on the final Cup riders come through. It's Jack Querty, Brandon Kavanagh, and we would expect Michael Gillen should be next. Yeah, so your Cup podium will look like Jack Querty, Brandon Kavanagh and Michael Gillen, with the win going to Emmett O'Grady from Kevin Keyes and Mick O'Sweeney, who are already back in Parc Fermé. So just confirmation on that win for Emmett O'Grady on the AK Thomas Byrne Racing CBR 600 from the Darracor R6 mounted Kevin Keyes. 3rd position confirmed for Michael Sweeney. 4th, Kevin Baker. The Cup podium is Jack Querty, Brandon Kavanagh, Michael Gillen. 8th position, Des McKessie. 9th, Keith Richardson. 10th position on the Triumph 675R, number 87, James Walsh. 11th position, Keelan Smith. 12th, Liam Chalk, number 44. 13th, Gary Riley. Vinnie Brennan was 14th. Shane Mulligan 15th, Stephen Tobin 16, 17 Alex O'Grady. Super Sport Cup rider Jack Mears was 18th, and Stephen Heelan was 19th. So lots of drama in that last Super Sport race between the Cup and the Pro riders. And with our podium celebration already underway and prepared, we will hand you over to Fergus.
Thanks very much, Andy. Another fantastic race, Supersport. They've really been the stars of the weekend here. Great performance there by Emmett O'Grady, and a great battle too in the Supersport Cup, the Principal Insurance Supersport Cup, and that's where we're going to start with third place. He's had a couple of wins already this weekend. Had to settle for third this time. It's Michael Gillen. Michael, somebody give Mick a bit of a nudge there. Michael Gillen, we need you up on the podium. Second place, the first time we've seen him this weekend, is Brandon Kavanagh. And our winner, having started at the back of the grid in the first race today and moved himself up all the way along, it's Jack Huerty. Well done, Michael. Well done, Brandon. Up there. And well done, Jack. Michael, you have to be happy with that weekend.
Oh, very happy, yeah. I set my personal best start time on this race as well, so very happy with that.
Can you tell me what it was?
I think the 56.5.
That's pretty good going, well done.
Yeah, so I'm really happy. The bike's going really well now, so I'm very happy. So it took a while to get it set up, but we're getting there now, finally.
I just think it's fantastic to see you up here after the way your last weekend ended, to see you here with 2 wins and then up on the podium as well. Fantastic, well done. Brandon, we expect to see you up here more often. It hasn't been your best weekend, has it?
No, I expect to be up here more often myself, but it's good to finish off the weekend with get on the podium, right up behind Jack there. Nearly made the pass in the last corner, but it was too tight, so happy.
Yeah, it was a great battle with Kevin Baker in there in the mix as well to watch out for. I know he's not in the cup, but he was just ahead of you guys.
Yeah, I had to get past Mick there, and once I got past Mick, I had to close in a gap to Jack there. And once I got to him, I just found it hard to pass him because Kevin was there as well. So, but no, happy after the weekend.
Okay, well done. Jack, come down there. That's a good result from where you started at the back early on in the weekend, and now you're up at the front and on the top step.
Yeah, Fergus, it wasn't ideal yesterday, not going out and then having to start so far back in the last one. But I put the head down in that one there. I wanted to win this race, so it was great to be in battling with the likes of Kevin and all that. Them lads are great experience, great to learn off, you know.
So you've learned a bit today, have you?
Oh yeah, learned loads this weekend. Always learning, never stop.
Okay, well done. It's presumed there's loads of people to thank as usual.
100%. I wouldn't be able to do that. My mum, my dad, Declan Madden, DM Groundworks. Mick Huerty's very good to me, and James Kennedy. Unreal. The lads are so good to me, it's not even right. So thanks, lads.
Okay, well done to our top 3 in the Supersport Cup. We'll just get ready now for the Superbike overall podium. We'll get the trophies out.
Thanks very much, Fergus.
And another epic race in Supersport with 4 guys in the lead. Battle there went on right till the end. Unfortunately, we lost Ushin near the end. But in third place, again, having started back earlier on the weekend due to not getting out yesterday, it's Michael Sweeney. Good man, Michael, make your way up there. And then in second place, Kevin Keys. And our winner after a last back manoeuvre up, our last lap manoeuvre up at the last corner, it's Emmett O'Grady.
Hello, Kev.
Well done, Mick.
Cheers, boss. Thank you.
Well done, Kevin. Well done, Emmett. There you go.
See me sliding there for a second.
Howie, Mick.
All right, yeah.
You had a good weekend. You didn't get out yesterday, but are you enjoying it now that you're out there?
Yeah, definitely bloody hard work. You know, come from the back of the grid earlier on to get a grid position for this, and we put in a couple of quick laps at the start to reel the boys back in. But once I got onto the back of them, they kind of upped it a little bit, and I got a couple of big slides. But it's nice to be in the pack with these. These are regulars here, and So I'm gonna might make myself a regular and see can I get a little bit further up the podium.
I have to say the three others, because they're in a championship battle, they've all really upped their game this weekend. So for you to be able to keep up with them coming fresh into it is quite good going.
Yeah, definitely for me. You know, I'm not. Sometimes sore checkers don't suit me. Like we made a lot of changes to the bike after the TT, and they seem to be working now. So I'm really happy. So we'll be down for the next one.
Okay, great to hear that. Now we move on to Kevin. Kevin, second place. Second place, lost it on the last corner. How do you feel about that?
Tired because I fell asleep. It was a good race. I didn't realise there were so many of us in the group, and I led from the start, and I seen Oisin make the move on the last lap, and I was like, right, or second last lap, and I was like, right, it's only me and Oisin. You know, I didn't realise there was so many, and Oisin, I seen he was down at the back of the paddock on the last lap, and I was like, all right, I can relax a little bit here. Next thing, Emmett arrives up me inside. So yeah, it was a brilliant race. Fun. I wish I knew there were more there.
Okay, well done on your weekend. One more race to go in Superbikes later on. Same for Emmett here. Looks like they're ready with the next race, so we'll have to be quick with this one. Emmett, what are your thoughts on that race?
Yeah, I just repaid Kevin for the favour yesterday, so that was one box ticked. I didn't see that Mikko, when Oisin went down, I knew Mikko would be happy enough to be on the step here, so I know that he wasn't going to come back. So played it smart. I seen that he's struggling a small bit with back tyre, so I seen the gap and I just went for it. So happy. Thanks to all the sponsors, Tozzy, AKR, the whole lot, tag team. Can't do without them.
Okay, sorry for cutting that one short, but we're already into our next race, so we need to hand back over to Andy at the top of the tower.
Thanks again, Fergus. So we already have our final Declan Madden Groundworks Junior Supersport Moto 1 and Moto 3 riders out on the circuit ahead of their 8-lap race to wrap up their weekend. So on pole position for this remaining race is Rhys Gates, number 1915, alongside Ruben Sherman Boyd. Alana Maher, from her fantastic previous result, is promoted into P3. Fionn O'Connell will start at top of row 2 alongside Finan Huerity and Joey Milliken. Fionn Stevens takes up row 3 from Rory Creeth and Matthew Long. R3 mounted Mark Carey, number 27, is top of row 4 from Robert O'Neill and Max Huerity. Donal O'Donovan tops row 5 from Mantis Sigdenis. Buster Sherman Boyd completes row 5. And then our last row 6 comprises of number 25, Aoife Griffin, and number 14, Joe Crosset. So that is our final lineup for the last Junior Supersport Moto 1 and Moto 3. So 3 championships up for grabs in this race. You have the Moto 1 class, Moto 3 class of Finan Huerity with the NF250R Honda versus the Moto 1 Tianda 300s, and then the Junior Supersports of the Yamaha R3s and the Kawasaki Ninja 300s, 250s and 400s. So everybody almost in their position. So we see our last rider pop up. Is this Aoife Griffin? And it looks as though Fionn Stevens is in a mission for this race, so a gap on row 3 as the riders look towards the light. A good start made by Rhys Gates, but Ruben Sherman Boyd takes the bit by the teeth, and he pops his number 71 Kawasaki into the lead into turn 2. as the chasing pack bear down on Ruben Sherman Boyd. Into turn 3, all nicely out. And turn 4 silts, he's Ruben Sherman Boyd. A gap of almost 1 second already. You'll definitely see the fastest starting lap for the Kawasaki mounted rider, number 71. Reese Gates doesn't want to let him get too far away, or he will control this race from the front. Fionn O'Connell is up to 3rd position. And in 5th position, Finan Huerty on the 250 Honda, ahead of Alana Marr. Alana on the 400cc Kawasaki, but the lead still is held by Ruben Sherman Boyd, dominating this championship so far, the Junior Supersport Championship. As we watch the riders tackle turn 3, the leaders are already back into shot on the entry to Southside Motor Factors. Reese Gates in 2nd position from Fionn O'Connell. Alana Marr back to Finan Huerty. Finan Huerty back to Alana Marr. Wrong way around. Then we have Joey Milliken, Rory Creeth, Matthew Long, and Mark Carey, number 27 on the R3 Yamaha. Followed by Robert O'Neill, Max Huerty as the leaders. Ruben Sherman Boyd, good shot of Ruben, tackling turn 3. On the 400cc Kawasaki Ninja. Now we see Reese, has he closed the gap just slightly, but not enough to put any pressure on Ruben Sherman Boyd at the minute. And we'll keep an eye on that gap. It was 0.5 of a second last time around, still around that 0.4, 0.5, very little in it. The rider standing on the brakes. Lap 3 of 8. And Reese Gates has closed the gap nicely, and he's in a position to challenge Rubens and is alongside him. So let's see what he plans to do in turn 4. Just let off the brake a little bit earlier. No, but he'd maybe sit there for a couple of laps just to see any gaps that Rubens leaves open. He moves out of the slipstream, have a look. Not quite close enough just yet. That final sector, Ruben is very strong to get out of turn 4 and into Southside Motor Factors. So currently the lead is Ruben Sherman Boyd, Reese Gates and Fionn O'Connell. From Finan Huerty, Alana Maher and Joey Milliken. But then again, 3 separate races going on within this combined Declan Madden Groundworks Junior Supersport Moto 1 and 3 race. Watch the leading trio tackle turn 3. And over the crest of the hill, back to turn 4. Gap last time round was 0.462. We'll keep an eye on that gap the next time they pass the tower, which will be half race distance. The dangle of the leg from Rubens, keep the bike steady. There goes Finan Huerty. Here comes Alana Madden, followed by Joey Milliken. Rory Creeth is next. Number 27 with the white helmet is Mark Carey. as the leaders exit turn 1 already. 3 laps remaining. The gap has stayed at 0.4 of a second. But again, Reese is able to close the gap on the entry to turn 3. And we see a back marker already. And is that going to come into play? Who is that, Joe Crosset or Aoife Griffin? Aoife Griffin stays out of trouble and lets the riders safely through. And Joe Crosset just in shot there as Reese and leader Ruben Sherman Boyd tackle Southside Motor Factors to complete their 6th lap. So next time around, the last lap flag will be prepared for these riders. Fionn O'Connell still in 3rd position. Joe Crosset keeps to the right hand side of turn 2, let the leaders past. Sensible decision. And again, you can see Reese close the gap, but just can't seem to impact the lead that Ruben has. Stayed at 0.4 of a second. It's not that there is a gap, it's just that Ruben is riding so really perfectly. His lines are really smooth. He's not leaving any spaces for Reese to get stuck under. Of course, Reese only new to racing. So a long way to go in his young career. Fastest lap of the race so far for Reese Gates, though, with a 1:02, so he might be new, but he's not green. Last lap flag being shown to the leaders, and Ruben has that gap still at 0.4 of a second. So any sort of mistake made and Reese will be able to pounce, but we haven't seen them over the previous 7 laps, so we can't expect to see any other from Ruben Sherman Boyd. Don't forget the Reese Gates and Ruben fighting in the same championship, Junior Supersport. Finn and Weirty holding on to that 4th position from Alana Mard, Joey Milligan. As we watch the leaders come round turn 4, checker flag will be prepared and they are almost ready. The south side, Reese getting really tied up. We're going to have a bit of a drag race down the straight. I don't think it's going to be enough to break the toe of Ruben Sherman Boyd, who is on his way to take his final victory of the weekend in Junior Supersport from Fionn O'Connell and Finn and Weirty. 4th position. Next up is Alana Marr. Then we should see Joey Milliken, which indeed we do. Next up should be Matthew Long, 961, takes the checkered flag. We are waiting on Mark Carey, 27, in 8th position. Robert O'Neill, 9th, number 125. Amanta Sigdinas is 10th, number 901. As Donald Donovan, Joe Crosset, Aoife Griffin take the checker flag also. So that completes our Junior Supersport Moto 1 and Moto 3 action for the afternoon, and indeed until next July we will see these riders back on the track. So again, classification for Junior Supersport. The win will go to Ruben Sherman Boyd from Reese Gates. 3rd position, Alana Maher in Junior Supersport. The Moto 1 win will go to Fionn O'Connell from Max Weirty. And the Moto 3 victory goes to Finn and Weirty. So our riders are making their way back to Parc Fermé, where they can step off and prepare for their podium presentation. Another excellent podium for Lana Marr. She'll be very happy going home this weekend. That must be 3 generations of Mars we've seen competing in Mondello. Certainly in my history books, that's what I can remember. So it looks as though we're ready to go on our podium. So over to you, Fergus.
Well, that's our final of our 3rd race today, which is unusual, but a lot of work for these junior Supersport and Moto 1 riders, doing 3 races in the one day. And yet another good performance there by some of our young riders, and we're going to call up the Moto 1 class as usual first. We've only got 2 finishers in the Moto 1, and second in that was Max Werrity. Was up here with us earlier, presenting awards. Now he's coming up to present his award, looks a bit confused. And Fionn O'Connell, winner once again. So we're going to give Max his award. Well done, Max. You were handing them out earlier, now you're getting them. Well done. And then we'll wait for Fionn to come up. Fionn, hop up there. Well done. Another win. I've no hands to shake with me there. Well done. Max, have you enjoyed your weekend?
Yeah, I have.
You've been out on all sorts of things, mini GPs and on the Moto 1. You're having a great time.
Yeah, it's good, especially all the trophies I have now.
So a win, first win, you can't beat that, can you?
No, but again, I didn't know where I was.
Oh, he's giving out about the pit board again. You need to get them sorted out.
I will.
You will. Good man, that's what I like to hear. Fionn, hop down there and talk to me. That's a good weekend for you in the end. Didn't start well with that crash on the start line in the first race, but a couple of wins now.
Yeah, over the moon now, brought it back, and yeah, we're extending the lead in the championship and just doing our thing, working away.
Okay, well done on another win. Well done to both of you. Great weekend for our Moto 1s. DM Groundworks Moto 1, top 2, Max Werrity and Fiona O'Connell. And we'll only 2 finishers in that one. And we're going to move on now to the DM Groundworks Junior Supersport. And in 3rd place in that is Alana Marr. Second place is Rhys Gates. And their winner, Ruben Sherman Boyd. Well done, Alana. Well done, Rhys.
Thanks very much.
Trying to take my job there. And back up on top of the podium. Well done once again to Ruben. Well done. So we're going to start 3rd place. Sorry, I'm confusing my cameraman here. Alana, 3rd place. I don't think you got the best of starts there, did you?
Yeah, I kind of got sucked a bit. I was on the outside start, and I think it's always a hard place. You don't want to kind of cut across the group in case of someone coming through and they catch each other. So I don't know. I'm probably a bit too nice going into turn 1, I think, off the start. But look, yeah.
But still, anyway, after the weekend started, which you're nearly not getting here, I think you have to be happy with the way it's turned out.
Yeah, in fairness, starting from the back of the grid in the first race because I know qualifying to have 2 podiums, I'm happy.
Okay, very well done. Rhys, another podium, another 2nd place, but I'm sure you'd prefer to be up on the top step.
Ah, yeah, but sure, look, Ruben Sherman Boyd put up a great battle, and yeah, that was nothing really.
It was hard, was it?
Yeah, it was very hard in fairness, and great weather and everything to fight against, and
you have to thank the team, of course, Jim Halligan and all the people down there.
Yeah, great big thanks to Jim and everything like that, and it wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them and my dad as well.
So well done. You're having a great 4th season here in the Junior Supersport, so well done. Ruben, another win to add to your tally. Season's going well for you. Maybe not the domination you normally have at a weekend, but I'm sure you're happy with it anyway.
Yeah, no, we got stuff sorted for the bike, and then couldn't really pull away because the 2nd race I didn't really get a chance to, take the coating off the tires because they were only new this weekend. But yeah, we won 2 races out of the 3.
Well done to our top 3 in the DM Groundworks Junior Supersport. Alana Marr, Rhys Gates and Ruben Sherman Boyd. And we're almost ready to go with our Megabikes Ballymount Twins Championship, the Super Twins and the Production Twins. So we'll hand back over to Andy.
Thanks very much again, Fergus. We already have some track action already. We've probably numbed some of the noise of the podium celebrations with our final Megabikes Ballymount Super and Production Twin race of the afternoon. Already on their sighting lap as we prepare to get these combined races underway. 12 laps ahead for these Super Twin and Production Twin based outfits. And once they clear our field of vision, we will pull up our grids, but in a moment, for the moment, they are on their sighting laps. And once safely round, find their proper position on the grid, then they get 2 warm-up laps, and then we'll be underway. Lots of orange bibs being shown at the minute, which is healthy for the sport to see. Of the 170 entries that are in this weekend, so many of them are in their first year of racing in short circuits, and it's always a good healthy sight to see on the assessment days back in March that there's so much interest in taking up the two-wheeled sport. For now, we'll watch our grids form up. We've had 2 good races so far this weekend, and we're hoping for another cracker as we watch number 15, Will Roberts, pop up to his spot. Looks like he's on row 3. And the usual suspects should be along very shortly. Oisin Maher is already at his post. No ill effects from that little slide in the Supersport race. Michael Sweeney already on the grid, riding the Aprilia, but Moto 2 type fairing on that MSR 660 Aprilia Twin. Row 2 is already complete. So we are just waiting on I don't know what we're waiting on. Looks as though we have an omission from the front row of Dara Crean. So we can't see him anywhere dotted around the circuit. So it would appear that this race is going to continue without Dara's participation. I'm not quite sure he had a mechanical. He was running strong in the previous races. But for the moment, his position on the grid will remain empty. Not quite sure. We haven't any information on why he is or on the grid. We can't see in the paddock whether he's packed up and ready for home. Long spin back to Tralee this evening. So confirmation of Oisin Maher on pole position. As we just mentioned, number 40 Dara Crean will not take part in this final Megabikes Ballymount Twins race. So first row is completed with Michael Sweeney from his fantastic performance in race 2. Keelan Smith heads up row 4 alongside Kevin Baker and Stephen Tobin, running number 50 this weekend. Jeff Quilter, production rider, is number 711, heads up row 3 from Mark McGowan and Will Roberts, number 15. Row 4 is Gavin Buckley, Ian Lynch and Michael Sheeran. Jason Whelan, number 280, is at top of row 5 for Michael Dunleavy and Des Butler, number 9. David Duffy, Mark Carey and Michael Murphy are in row 6. Mark Carey on the R7 Yamaha. Row 7 is David Broderick, Dwayne McCoy and Conor Maguire. Row 8, Michael McSweeney, Shane Carroll and Matthew Donoghue. Row 9, Adam Reardon, Conor Guigan and Shane Doran. Sean Leonard, number 34, heads up row 10 from Corey McDonnell and Sean Brawley. And to finish off, row 11, number 72, Adam Carey, also on an R7 Yamaha, ahead of Jack Mears. This race kindly sponsored by Megabikes in Ballymount, suppliers of some fine motorcycle apparel and new and used motorcycles. Check out their website, megabikes.ie. Just noticed Sean Brawley at the back of this grid, so not expecting Sean to be at the back of the grid for long with his performances in the first competitive meetings that we had earlier on this year. We check his progress. And good start from Michael Sweeney. Oisin Maher got the front wheel in the air, so that's cost him a little time. So let's watch Michael Sweeney take the lead into turn 1. And it looks like Kevin Baker has made an excellent start into P3. He's ahead for turn 3. So it looks as though Michael Sweeney leads from Oisin Maher and Kevin Baker on the Kawasaki ER6. And Oisin will be mad to capitalise on that mistake that he made on himself, so he's going to try and make up some time on Michael Sweeney. Similar spec to Aprilia's, of course. And that is Kevin Baker. Keelan Smith is running forward. Ran a little bit wide in turn 4. Southside Motor Factors, my apologies. And Stephen Tobin is 5th. William Roberts is 6th, number 15 on the Super Twin. And we watch the leaders exit turn 1 to start their first flying lap. Still Michael Sweeney from Oisin Maher. Great sunshine here, and we see waved yellow in turn 4, so there'll be no overtaking in that sector. So even if somebody did make an error or leave a gap, nothing you can do about it until those yellow flags are taken back in. You can of course close the gap, you just can't pass. Continue at race speed. Oisin has a look around the outside. Might want to sit there for a few minutes, learn a few more tricks from Michael Sweeney, his mentor. He's already beaten him once today. He'll fancy another pop at the champion, because there's nothing between them at the moment. Gap of 1.4 seconds already open between the battle for first and second to third place Kevin Baker. However, Keelan Smith is up into 4th from Stephen Tobin. Stephen on his ER6 Kawasaki as well. And still keep an eye on the leaders. Here Michael Sweeney out of the S's into Southside Motor Factors. And keeps that bike straight and upright. No gap for Oisin at the moment. Oisin probably happy to sit there with 10 laps remaining in this Megabikes Ballymount race. No sense of urgency with anybody all over the back of him. Still having a look on the inside. Can he make it? No, not just enough space at the moment. But it's a long way back to Kevin Baker in 3rd. So no sense of urgency to do anything too rash. He won't want to make a mistake like he did in the Supersport race. Happy to sit there for a few more minutes. See what pans out. Fastest lap of the race at the moment for Oisin Maher, So pace is certainly not an issue for the number 5 Aprilia mounted rider. Might want to exploit maybe some of the late braking manoeuvres. Looks up the inside of Southside Motor Fractors, does find a gap. He will run ever so slightly wide. See if Michael Sweeney has any power advantage down the straight. Both riders, of course, on Aprilias, 660 parallel twin. And a yellow, we see number 215, and that is David Duffy, who has retired coming out of turn 1. Rider completely okay, under the safe eyes of Jay Murray. Thanks very much, Jay, for getting that dealt with so quickly. We turn our attention back to the leaders. Sean Leonard just passes Southside Motor Fractors. That is the battle for mid-pack, as our leaders are already in Southside Motor Fractors, and it's still Oisin in the lead from Mick Sweeney. And the fastest lap still with Oisin, a 56.7, but very little between these two similarly spec'd machines and riders. A 56.752 for Michael Sweeney on that last lap. And just confirmation of the fastest lap, 56.565 from Oisin Maher, as they head back out to turn 3. Good steady progress from Oisin on the Aprilia. Was a little bit wide on turn 4, but not enough for Michael Sweeney to make a lunge on. I think the only possible way that Michael Sweeney will get past Oisin is if he either makes a mistake, outbrakes himself, or leaves a gap, or unless Michael Sweeney can do something strong on the brakes into some of maybe the hairpins of Southside Motor Fractors or turn 1. But for the moment, it's Oisin Maher still in the lead from Kevin Baker, somewhat back adrift in third position, 10 seconds adrift of the leaders. That's Will Roberts. Will is back in 6th place, so that's the battle for 6th, 7th and 8th between Mark McGowan and Jeff Quilter. Will from County Cork started out in production twin racing, but has made the jump to Super Twins. The gap from 2nd to 3rd has increased to 12 seconds now as we watch Oisin Maher bop into some traffic. Michael Sweeney gets caught up in that. That's going to cost him a lot of time as he looks over his shoulder, just to let the rider know that he's impeded his progress into that lead that Oisin Maher has. Still 5 laps to go. It's not ideal to have back markers making their presence felt at this early stage of the race, with only 60% of the race complete. You would think that perhaps the introduction of perhaps the blue flag could be implemented for some of these races going down the line if championships were at stake, in the interest of safety also. Well, we look back to our leaders who are on lap 8 of 12, 5 laps remaining. It is Oisin Maher and Michael Sweeney back into 2nd place, but you're going to see the gap of probably a second between the two riders after that coming together with the back markers. It's only half a second, so Michael Sweeney's had made great inroads, and it's still the fastest lap of Oisin Maher on lap 6 with a 56.3 as they take turn 2 with 4 laps remaining. See if Mick can make any inroads on the entrance to turn 3, which he can't really. That's another back marker, sits up to stay out of the way. And that's the two leaders, Oisin Maher and Mick Sweeney, through. And we have another back marker, but should be able to blast past him on the straight. Shouldn't really get in the way. That's number 916, Gavin Buckley. And Mick O'Sweeney goes under Oisin Maher on turn 1, so I think Oisin just maybe gave a little bit too space to Mick O'Sweeney. Mick couldn't refuse not to take the opportunity to capitalise on that space that Oisin left. So Oisin has it all to do all over again, and back markers are in the way again. It shouldn't really get in the way of Mikko or Oisin at the moment at this part of the circuit, but with it back markers all over the circuit now, really it's just adding to the problem that Oisin has, with still 3 laps to go. As we look at number 95, Conor Maguire, Oisin is stuck behind Mick O'Sweeney for the moment, so he's going to have to conjure up another way of getting past if he wants to bring his master to. Oisin does go under Michael Sweeney, but had to run wide, pick the bike up. Mick O'Sweeney went under Oisin along turn 1, turn 2, and now they're heading out to turn 3. And the last lap flag is being prepared when they come around turn 3, turn 4 at Southside Motor Factors for the next time. They'll be greeted by the last lap flag, yellow with a black cross. So it's looking very settled for Mick O'Sweeney, who's also put in the fastest lap of the race with a 56.3 on lap 6. So Oisin is going to have it all to do if he wants to take another win home tonight. So you can see the last lap flag being shown to Oisin and Mikko. So just a few corners left. Last lap was a 57.5 for Oisin. Michael Sweeney managed a 57.1, so there's a half a second between the two Aprilia mounted riders at the moment. Oisin's got a lot to do as they enter turn 3 for the last time and sweep out over the brow of the hill into turn 4. I don't think Oisin has enough in the tank to go just now. 1 corner left. All he could do maybe is do a last minute break and maneuver. I don't think he's close enough. Even with back markers in the way, it's going to be Oisin Maher looking with no way past Michael Sweeney. Sweeney is going to take his first win of the weekend in the Megabikes Ballymount Super Twin class. So Oisin might be a little bit upset with himself about how easily he left Sweeney through in the end, considering how well he'd been riding in the middle part of this race. But it's the win for Mick O'Sweeney and the fastest lap as we wait on Keelan Smith to take the checkered flag and complete the Super Twin podium. Stephen Tobin is next, and Will Roberts is just exiting the Southside Motor Factors. He should be next in to take the checker flag, number 15, and he does. Mark McGowan and Jeff Quilter. Mark McGowan and Jeff Quilter are the production twin winners, and we should expect Michael Sheeran to complete the production twin podium, as they do indeed. So just confirmation on your screen there that the win in the Super Twins does go to Michael Sweeney from Oisin Maher and Keelan Smith. Production twin victory for Mark McGowan, Jeff Quilter and Michael Sheeran. Des Butler comes home in 11th, ahead of Conor Maguire in 12th. Conor McGuigan was 13th, David Broderick 14th, Dwayne McCoy 15th, Gavin Buckley 16th. 17th was Matthew O'Donoghue, Shane Doran 1 lap back in 18th. 19th was Adam O'Riordan, and in 20th position was Shane Carroll. So our riders are being held in the technical area just for the moment. Make sure all our bikes are legal. As the MCI technical scrutineering team complete their checks. We'll have a slight delay to our podium in the Megabikes Ballymount Super Twin and Production Twin podium presentations. So we have some good discussions going on between Mikko and Oisin about their dice in that last race, as we have our bikes still held in Park Fermat. Have a check on that they all conform to the regulations. Production Twins must remain standard suspension, standard fuel injection systems also. So good to see the technical team that are completing their checks on those bikes, but we're happy to
that's our
begin
final
our podium presentations. Over to you,
Megabikes
Fergus.
Twins race for the weekend. Great win there for Michael Sweeney. We're only going to be able to call up the top three overall, which is the top three in the Super Twin class, because the scrutineers have held on to a lot of the production twin riders, which is something that they need to do every now and then. So we're just going to do one podium this time. We have Kieran Hayes here from Megabikes, sponsors of the championship, who's going to present the awards. So in reverse order as usual, we're going to call up Kellen Smith, please. Callan should be with us. He was in Park Ferme. I hope he's come running out now of Park Ferme to come and see us. Yeah, here he comes. So Callan Smith is up first. Well done to Callan. And once he's up there, if he just stands there, and then we'll get Kieran to present the trophies all together. So just stand up on number 3. It's at this end, Callan. And then in second place, Oisin Maher. And our winner, Michael Sweeney. Thanks very much to Kieran from Megabikes Dublin and Ballymount. Anything you're looking for in your for your motorcycle or brand new motorcycles, and of course they're involved with a lot of these riders, because a lot of these riders now, come on Mick Sweeney, up you come. All of these riders are on actually our top 3 are on Aprilia SV 650 or 660s. Sorry, Aprilia 660s, and Kieran would be one of the main people bringing them into the country. So well done to Kieran, thank you very much. Said he doesn't want to be on camera, so we let him go and we'll have a word with Kellen. Kellen, you look surprised you're on the podium.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. Yeah, it's a good result for today considering the riders that are here.
It is very good to stand up here with Oisin Maher and Mick Sweeney, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I had a good battle with Stephen Tobin as well there for this.
So you're mixing in some fancy company now, aren't you?
Yeah, not too bad, yeah.
All right, thanks very much, Ken. Oisin, we're going to go through this quick because we've a Superbike. They're about to go with the Superbike B race, so we don't want to hold them up. Good man, Oisin, get the sponsors in there. Second place, Mick put up a good fight.
He did, yeah, fair play to him.
We pushed him hard. He had to go like very, very quick times in order to keep ahead of you.
We've been going back and forth there for a while about this lap record and him beating me, but I tried my best. But sure, look, it was great crack though. No, it's good. I learned a lot off him as well, and he's great to help me out. I'm sure when we get back now, he'll tell me a few things I can improve on. So yeah, no, and I wish him the best of luck next week in the Southern 100 as well. So what lap time was done?
You don't expect me to know that off the top of my head now, do you? 55.
Oh, I've no words, Fergus. Is this last round?
No, it was a 56. Don't mind him. He told me to tell you that.
That's fair enough. So thanks to everyone who helped out. The old AKR team, my dad, my brother, my girl from Sive, Kieran from Megabikes, just everyone, Mikko as well, of course, for beating me. Thanks, Mikko. Yeah, that's it then. Yourselves and
Can Mick have a word now, can he?
Yeah, that's it.
Right, Mick, hop down. Fair play to you, Mick. 3 bikes this weekend, although you didn't go out yesterday to save yourself a bit for today. But Superbike, Supersport, and a bike that you've won a lot of races around here on Twins. You've won a lot of races in Twins. Bit of a specialty for you on this track, and but hard to beat this young man, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I knew coming into this weekend, I was winding him up the last time here, so I'm going to bring me twin the next time down here for the crack, and just to have a bit of crack with him. And I ended up bringing it. We said, do you know, I'll bring the 3 of them, give them room before I go to the Southern 100 next week. So we just followed him yesterday. I think it was yesterday, Friday I followed him on the track down. I was watching what he was doing. I said, right, sure, we'll race and we'll have a bit of crack. So I was winding him up thinking I was going to beat him, but honestly I didn't think I was going to beat him. The young lad is a fantastic rider, riding really well. Like him and young Kevin Keys as well. They're the 2 boys coming up, you know what I mean? But he's a class act.
As are you, Mick.
But sure, look it. I give it my best.
Well done to everybody, and everybody who's made it over here for the Megabikes Super Twins podium. Pity we couldn't do a production twin podium, but we couldn't get the riders out of the holding area in time. So thanks to our top 3 there in the Megabikes Super Twins, and we have to hand over now to Andy for the final B race of the weekend.
Thanks again, Fergus. We already have our grid in place for our final Supersport Superbike B race of the afternoon, which will be again a generous 12-lap race for these guys who we have an oversubscribed Supersport and Superbike grid in itself, so these riders have to get a B race to facilitate their entry, and they are just about to head out on their sighting laps. Once they disappear from earshot, we will pull up a grid. For the moment, we let them disappear into the heat haze. Thankfully, we have a heat haze. So row 1 is Anthony Willis from Robbie McGarren, number 76. John Byrne on the Honda Fireblade, number 20, is on row 1, P3. Row 2 comprises of Albert Pender, Ronan Cosgrave and Niall Monaghan. And John Griffin heads up row 3 from Trevor 4 and 144, and number 62 in the ZX10R, Graham Smallwoods from Derry. Ash McSweeney, number 936, tops row 4 from Ross Quinn, number 925. And 12th position is Colin Kerwick, number 238. Row 5, Graham Heaven, number 184. From Robert Toner, 133. Colin Walsh, 941. Row 6, John Cahill on the 750cc GSXR, ahead of Rory Flahav and Warren Kavanagh, completing row 6. Row 7 is Adrian Heaney from Lee Hillen and Noel Carroll, number 21, also on a 750cc Suzuki. Aaron McCann, number 951, tops row 8 from Wayne Gaffney and Dean Hickey. And row 9 is number 979, newcomer Adrian O'Driscoll. Good shots of our grids starting to form. All of our riders are completely through Southside Motor Factors, and we'll roll up to their positions thanks to the grid staff again. So the front row is R6, ZX10R and Fireblade. And the lights are on, we're almost ready to go. Good start from the 1000cc machines. Doesn't guarantee them the edge into turn 1. So let's see what we can have. It's John Byrne who leads into turn 1. He started from the outside of row 1 and made good his escape with the Supersport and ZX10 mounted riders behind him of Robbie McGowan, number 76, and number 935, Anthony Willis on the Yamaha R6. John Byrne is still in the lead. And as he leads turn 4, Anthony Willis on the blue R6. Going to put him under pressure. Anthony Willis had a great race 2 in this B race, and he'll want to build on the success of that. John Byrne has the fastest lap at the minute. The only one doing 103s. Anthony Willis put in a 104.1, but we're still on his case. And had a look around the outside turn 2, see if we could get the drive or even stay with the drive of the 1000cc Fireblade of John Byrne, and closes in turn 3. Has a look around the outside. This is a double apex, so he may get strong drive out, which give him the advantage into turn 4 as he moves across the circuit. Tries the outside of turn 4 to get a run out of the S's, but he'll have a strong braking advantage on these bigger capacity machines, you would think, on the entry to Southside Motor Factors. But no, doesn't like the look just yet. But with only one of 12 laps completed, he's got plenty of time. It was in the background. There is a battle somewhat back, 1.3 seconds. Ronan Cosgrave, 903, who's come from the second row to currently have his position 3. The fastest lap of the race so far has gone to Albert Pender, who's currently back and forth, but he won't be there for much longer if he keeps that pace up. As we see 4 riders in the 59s, John Byrne, Anthony Willis and Ronan Cosgrave. Fastest lap, as we said, for Albert Pender at the moment on the R6. Well, it's John Byrne who still leads on the road. And has a small margin of an advantage, John Byrne. Power wheelie from 935. Anthony Willis will cost him a little bit of time. He sweeps over to the right hand side of the track to get different drive out of turn 1, which may be giving some momentum at turn 2, so that the 1000cc bike of John Byrne can't get to full advantage of that extra horsepower. But have a look at that maneuver on the outside of turn 3 from Anthony Willis, and he can hold that line and should have the advantage on the entry to turn 4, but loses the advantage to the experience of John Byrne, who will be aware that the next time round that he wants to take a really tight line into turn 3 to get as good a drive as he can and ride more defensively if he wants to hold on to that position, because the 1000cc extra horsepower isn't falling to his advantage. And Anthony Willis tries again up the inside of Southside Motor Factors, but it's the experienced John Byrne who holds his lead, and another wide line from Anthony Willis, starting lap 4 of 12. Not much between these bikes as they head out on from turn 2 to turn 3. John Burns runs a slightly wider line, just want to let Anthony Willis round the outside, which would give him the inside line to turn 4. Currently it's nip and tuck between these two ambitious riders. John Byrne, number 20, and number 935, Anthony Willis. Robbie McGowan holds on to third position, number 76, on his ZX10R from Ronan Cosgrove, 903. Albert Pender, 428. Fastest lap of the race to Robbie McGowan at the minute on the ZX10R, back in third position, and that's him on the red bike. And again, Anthony Willis sweeps across to the left-hand side of the track. That's costing him some time. He might be better off maybe to just follow John's lines for the next couple of laps and see if he can expose any weakness within that Bunclody rider's armour. But not at the moment. Watching shots there, Ronan Cosgrove and Albert Pender, 4th and 5th. Graham Smallwood, number 62, the ZX10R, as the leaders are already into Southside Motor Factors. Still John Byrne, who leads from Albert Pender. Anthony Willis, number 935. Albert Pender is back in 5th position. Fastest lap of the race so far still goes to Robbie McGowan. As we watch the footage of John Byrne and Anthony Willis, Robbie McGowan has a 2.6 second gap back to the leaders. We keep an eye on that gap, see has it changed much from the previous laps. But as John Byrne and Anthony Willis play cat and mouse with each other, that will feed into the advantage of Robbie McGowan. Currently it's John Byrne who's playing his cards right, and the Honda Fireblade against the R6 of Anthony Willis, sitting in the shadows for the moment. Not going to outdrag that Fireblade down the straight, so he may try and find an alternative method through. And again he sweeps to the left hand side of the circle, which is costing him a lot of time on the exit. These corner areas should be the place where the R6 should be holding the advantage to the less agile Honda Fireblade. The gap from third place gone to 3.8. So Robbie McGowan last time out did a 1 minute. Fastest lap of that race so far is with Anthony Willis on that last lap, 7 with a 58.7. But he's having to use that lap speed to just eat back into the advantage that John Byrne has at the moment, using the extra horsepower of the Honda Fireblade against the Yamaha R6 of Anthony Willis. As we look at coming into shot 428, Anthony Pender on that white R6. Um, 66% of the race completed. John Byrne has a gap of about half a second now to Anthony Willis. And we see some back markers starting to pop into the field of vision of the leaders, John Byrne and Anthony Willis. So this could be an awkward place for the back marker to discover that the leaders are on approach. John Byrne goes around the outside, Anthony Willis takes up the inside. Doesn't impede our progress too significantly. That was Wayne Gaffney on the blue R1. Shot. Slow rider here in the way of turn 1. That's going to allow Anthony Willis to close up on John Byrne. There's a yellow flag being waved at Southside Motor Factors, so if that's not cleared up by the time John Byrne and Anthony Willis get back in with the flags being waved, which it is still being waved. There'll be no passing in that last sector. And the rider that was down in the Southside Motor Factors is up completely unhurt, thankfully. See another back marker come to the fray. Again, a difficult part of the track to pass. But both the leaders, John Byrne and Anthony Willis, do get past. So that's one less to worry about for now. So let's have a look. That lap time is obviously going to have suffered with the slower riders in the way. And Anthony Willis does get up the inside of John Byrne, and he has 2 laps to make that pass count and hold on to it. But John Byrne, we've seen in the past, won't like being mugged too much and will have something left in the tank, something to say about that. But Anthony Willis has already made good his escape on the entry to turn 3, penultimate lap. We see the last lap flag being prepared beneath us. Anthony Willis has extended his lead to about half a second in a minute as he comes into turn 4 for the penultimate lap, this final Supersport and Superbike B race. We watch the leaders come out into more traffic, which is an advantageous pace to find these riders, so they should be able to get past them on the start finish all right. So it's still Anthony Willis with the lead, picking up that last lap flag. John Byrne tries to outbrake, but gets caught with John Cahill, and that's going to cost him a lot of time. But meanwhile, Anthony Willis is also stuck behind a rider, but John Byrne, I think, suffered more, being hindered by John Cahill in that turn 1, turn 2 complex. Yellow flags have been removed from Southside Motor Factor, so that all the circuit is green at the moment for passing. John Byrne is only getting around the outside of turn 4 at the minute, as Anthony Willis holds the card for the last time into Southside Motor Factors, and it's going to be a win for Anthony Willis based on that manoeuvre that he made into turn 1 the last time around. And the checkered flag is being held, and it is a win for Anthony Willis. Second place to John Byrne. As we look further back, it should be Robbie McGarren, number 76, who takes third, and indeed he does. Wait now on Niall Monaghan. Should be with us next. Indeed it is. Graham Smallwoods then should be next up on the blue number 62 ZX 10R, followed by Trevor Foran and John Griffin. Colin Kerwick, Ash McSweeney completes the top 10. Ross Quinn, and so our Superbike and Supersport B riders come back into Park Fermer for the final time this weekend, which will let us turn our attention to our last race of today. Got through our 15 race card quite well, progressed really nicely, it has to be said, incident free in the dry conditions that we've had here, that we long awaited from yesterday's deluge. So we have a revised grid for our final Principal Insurance Superbike race of the afternoon, which we'll gladly share with you. So that looks like Carl McGahan, who's already on his way. Carl McGahan circulating on his own at the moment. Oh, he'll be met by some of the grid marshals to hold off just for a couple of moments as pit lane isn't properly open. Riders starting to form on pit lane ahead of 2 sighting laps. We'll have some great interviews then from Jim Halligan before we conclude proceedings with 2 warm-up laps and a 14-lap finale to this afternoon's activities. And we will be back in Mondello Park in July. And our July dates for the Principal Insurance Masters are July 27th and 28th. And from that point, we will have the luxury of the international circuit. So that will add more fuel to the fire in terms of getting track time. We'll have the extended corners of the international circuit next time out. Give the new riders the experience of the full of the international circuit. That's something to look forward to. Again, that's July 27th and 28th, so put that in your diaries. Obviously something else we'd like to see in your diaries is pick up one of those Motorcycle in Ireland whole shot tickets for €100 in with a chance of winning 150,000. Limited to 7,500 tickets. There'll also be 5 prizes of €10,000, but the real winner will be successfully supporting the Motorcycle Ireland's campaign to ensure that we have racing for 2025 and onwards from there on in. So please, if you can, or get a syndicate together, and either way we need as much €100 tickets sold as we can to ensure that we have our racing set up for 2025 motocross trials, hill climbs, our short circuits here, everything. It's really important that we have all our boxes ticked before we go down the road of picking up insurance. So grids are starting to form here. You can see Emmett O'Grady down below the tower. Many riders still trying to head out. I think we're all ready to go with some grid conversation. So let's hand you over to Jim Halligan and see what information he can glean for us.
And
over to you, Jim.
Welcome to the final Superbike race of the Principal Insurance Mondello Masters. One of the first men back here was Brian McCormick on the Roadhouse from Macau machine. Brian, having a good weekend?
Yes and no. Yes, it was good. We had a win yesterday. It's second in the first race today, but just had a little issue with stopping the bike. But maybe still a hangover from the TT. Just it's a little different trying to stop here down to second gear from 200 mile an hour TT. So
you're expecting the 7 mile straight that doesn't come?
Yeah, it comes a bit hot and heavy here in the short track, but it's look, no excuse. Kevin's riding really well as well, so it's just up to me now to get the finger out, as they say, and have a bit of crack at this one.
Yeah, we're not seeing many wheelies. We used to see loads of wheelies in the grand final, which we don't have anymore. What would you think about the having a grand final again?
Yeah, it's good to have that extra race and have the quicker 600 lads in with the Superbikes. It used to be very good, but look, we have enough racing going on now at the moment, so it is it's enough for all of us, I think. But yeah, well, look, we'll hopefully put on a good show here now. There should be four or five lads in the mix, so it should be a bit of crack.
Good, well done, Brian. Good to see you here, and we'll go back to the second row, and the man looking for his pit crew here is Alan Kenny. Alan, bit of a tough day yesterday.
Yeah, you could say that, all right. Look, these things happen. Kevin just tried to make a move on the inside. He obviously hadn't got the space and just hit the side of me. Both of us went down, but look, it happens. You move on. What can you do?
I've done it loads of times myself.
Yeah, no, look, it can happen to any of us. That's just the nature of the game we're in. So you just accept it, and today's a different day, and we just keep going. That's all we can do.
How did you get on earlier?
So look, I was on pole because obviously I had set the fastest lap yesterday in the wet, but with the run that I've been having lately, confidence just wouldn't have been as high. So to be honest, I was happy to finish third. I needed to get a finish after all this crashing.
Yeah, it's not like it, in fairness.
I know, yeah. Well, look, we had bent triple clamps, so as far as I know, that's caused 2 crashes here in Mondello. So what can you do? One of these things.
Well, we're glad to see you here, and we're delighted. You always put on a great show for the lads.
Yeah, I know. Look, we'd always give it. We always give it our all, anyway, regardless.
Well done. Good to see you here. And we'll have a quick word with our pole man. We're probably down to our last few minutes. Kevin, big smiles. Good weekend so far.
Yeah, it's been good. First, second, and third in the Supersport race. Crash yesterday in a big bike. Win this morning, so be lovely to finish off a double.
So tell us, what's been changed since the TT on this? Nothing?
I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but my balls have got a little bit smaller. No, other than that, setting wise, we've just stiffened it back up a little bit. I changed handlebar position a small bit, widened it back out. Not much, to be honest, not much. No.
Yeah, so you love the big R1 around here. It's the bike actually to really have around here, I think.
Yeah, it's brilliant. The R1's working really, really well. I've adapted quite good to it. To me, I've ridden a different big bike before. It didn't suit me, and I was quite sketchy about moving onto a big bike, wondering if it'd ever suit me. But I really, really enjoyed the R1. Quite similar to a Supersport bike, but it's hard to knock out Brian and Emmett on the Fireblades. When Brian has that beamer hooked up, he's a big challenge.
Well, great to see you up here, and hopefully see you on the top step.
Cheers, thanks, Jim.
And back to Andy in the tower.
Thanks a million, Jim. Good conversations going on there between the top riders. Great that they give us a little bit of time when they have other things on their mind before this race. Just an announcement, between garage 3 and 4 we need a car moved. It's a BMW 520D Estate, number 142D 11312. Could you please move your car? It's a BMW 520 Estate 142D 11312 in between garages 3 and 4. If you could please just move that, you're causing an obstruction. Thank you. So tyre warmers off. Paddock stands dropped for the final time this afternoon. It's been an absolutely sensational afternoon's racing, considering how difficult the conditions were yesterday. Such a relief to get this event run, and so many people to thank in the back teams of the medics and our marshals, our grid teams, and our track teams who've kept the show going. Race control, thanks very much. We've had a really enjoyable experience on the back of a really difficult one yesterday. So we'll pull up our grid once we get these riders around the back of the circuit. Thanks to all our viewers who tuned in. We hope you enjoyed the coverage and the commentary for the afternoon. We watch our riders take one of 2 more warm-up laps for this final fling. And you can see on your screens there confirmation that on pole position is Kevin Keyes on the Darracor R1M, ahead of Brian McCormick on the FHO Racing by Macau Roadhouse BMW M1000 RR. Emmett O'Grady is in third position, completing row 1. Row 2 on the TMR cars R1 is Alan Kenny. The MJR Racing BMW S1000 and Mick O'Sweeney in the middle of row 2. Andrew Weirty also on a BMW S1000 leads row 2. On row 3, Karen McGahan, Darren Tierney and Shane Conley. Row 4 is Declan Madden, Jack O'Grady 157 and Shawnee Smith number 13. Row 5 is also the Darracor sister bike to Kevin Keyes, Kevin Madigan number 147, Ronan Waters 1451, Davin Casey on the GSXR 1000 888. Row 6 is Marius Kopka, Paul McLaughlin and Ian Huerty. And finally row 7, Wayne Tobin number 952 and Almantis Monvillas also breaks into the Superbike main race. So that's your grid for this final Superbike activity for the afternoon and weekend. Hard one to call. A lot of guys have stepped up to the plate, and there's a lot of experience on this grid with 14 laps ahead of us. If I was a betting man, I wouldn't go too far from Kevin Keyes or Brian McCormick, but for the moment I'll keep my money firmly in my pocket. Alan Kenny will be waiting in the wings. Good to catch up with Alan at lunchtime as well. And we are just waiting on a green flag from the back of the grid, which we have, so we'll be ready to go racing any moment now. Keep your eye on that red light under the M-Town Bridge. As soon as that goes out, riders away. That's the sound of a lot of horsepower. Brian McCormick is the best on the brakes into turn 1 for the start of this 14 lapper, and let's see what he can do on his own with clear track in front of him. He does make good his escape. We've seen Kevin Keyes in the past just reel in meters and meters on the brakes. To get that R1 stopped, much greater than you would expect for these big capacity superbikes. While they have tremendous horsepower, a very hard bike to get stopped and turned compared to their 600cc counterparts. But for the moment, it is Brian McCormick who leads into Southside Motor Factors for the first time of 14, ahead of Kevin Keyes. And it's Alan Kenny who's taken third place from Emmett O'Grady. Karen McGahan's had a storming start. Started from row 3 and is currently running in 5th on the road. That's a fantastic start from Karen McGahan, number 2 on that yellow Yamaha R1. A lead of 0.6 of a second for Brian McCormick, and no surprise, the fastest lap going to Brian McCormick, a 58.1, and fastest sector 1 and sector 2. And currently the fastest sector 1 is Kevin Keyes, so you can see the inroads he's making already to Brian McCormick. Let's watch how they line each other up. Of course, Brian will have a pit board here. There won't be much information on. The information he'll have will come from his right ear, and that'll be the sound of the Darracor R1 advancing. Tremendous howl from that M1000. O'Brien took a very, very tight line into turn 1, so obviously has been taking a look at some of Kevin Keyes' riding techniques, and he's not going to leave an inch for the Eden Derry rider to scupper Brian's plans of going home with another win in the Superbike category. So again, a really tight line on the exit of turn 3. Very little power advantage between these machines. Again, Brian right on the money of turn 4. Now we'll keep an eye on the sector. The fastest sector time on that last lap was Brian McCormick. Fastest lap at the moment so far though is Kevin Keyes, so this will be interesting to see what the timing screen pops up. look back shot, that's Carl McGahan, Shane Conley, and Adrian Weirty, number 39. The leaders are already through turn 1 and turn 2. Brian McCormick still holds all the cards, and he's in the 53s at the moment, 53.8. Riding quite defensively, but quite well. The Tramore rider on that M1000 BMW. 400ths of a second to the good of Kevin Keyes, and Emmett O'Grady has retaken that third position from Alan Kenny. Let's have a look at Alan Kenny, see has he had an issue. A 54 on that last lap. No, I think it's just good response from Emmett O'Grady. As the leaders come past again, it is still Brian McCormick. Alan Kenny back in fourth position, third position to Emmett O'Grady, Carl McGahan, and 96. Looks like that's going to be retirement. 86, Ian Werity. Actually, it looks like Ian Werity is a casualty in turn 1 with 2 riders down in turn 1, so that sector is having yellow flags in a minute, so we know overtaken for that, but our leaders are back into shot in turn 4. 4 laps competed. Fastest lap of the race still is Brian McCormick, 53.8, 53.9 for Kevin Keyes. Also the only 2 riders in the 53 bracket at the minute, and they get out of Southside Motor Factors. So it's been very little between these 2 leaders, Brian McCormick and Kevin Keyes, at the moment. BMW Power versus R1. No overtaking allowed, of course. Those yellow flags being waved quite vigorously, and both Brian McCormick and Kevin Keyes will be well aware of that. So we're into sector 2 though, so we're back with a green sector, and we can watch the different lines that the riders take. Kevin really closes in on Brian in turn 3, but not close enough to make anything stick just at the moment, but he'll be looking for a way past very shortly. He's closed that gap from 0.4 down to 0.2 of a second as we see them on the brakes into Southside Motor Factors. Emmett O'Grady, gap back was 2.4. I think that margin may come down slightly. We'll take a look as the leaders go past us once more. That gap has come down just ever so slight, 2.4 down to 2.2 seconds. And still Brian McCormick, who leads Kevin Keyes out of turn 2. Stretch the legs of these 1000cc monsters out into turn 3. Kevin Keyes just not able to get up close enough to bother Brian just yet. As we watch, Brian runs slightly wide on turn 4, and that's enough for Kevin Keyes to get through. I wonder, was that Brian out braking himself? He certainly was running really tightly there for the first couple of laps, but made a mistake there for one reason or another. Kevin Keyes has got through, and now we're going to have a very interesting battle to see if Kevin Keyes can break the toe of Brian McCormick. I don't think this lap time is going to tell us too much, and it doesn't with 54s and 55s, but Brian won't want to let Kevin get too far off in the distance. Otherwise, there is going to be a lot of work for Brian to do in the closing parts of this 14-lap race. We're already at half race distance. We're looking at the leaders come back into shot on turn 4. It's Kevin Keyes, Emmett O'Grady still in the wings, not written off his chance in case something happens. These riders, we did see the leaders have an incident yesterday with Alan Kenny and Kevin Keyes becoming a cropper at the exit of turn 3, gifting the win to Brian McCormick. So this could be an interesting lap time at the moment. The fastest lap at the moment to Brian McCormick, 53.8, but they're both circulating in mid 54s at the minute. So the pace at the moment is dropped from a 53.8 last lap of 54.397. Fastest lap to Brian McCormick, but you don't get points for fastest laps. So Emma O'Grady is reeling in both of these riders running first and second. Fastest sector there goes to Emmett O'Grady, so he is indeed close, and that gap is down to 1.4 seconds from first to third. And again, the lap times are in the mid 54 bracket, where they were doing 53.9s, 53.8s on lap 3 and 4. But last lap for all top three riders was 54.4, 54.5, 54.1. So consistency between all three riders at the moment, as we see Kevin Keyes lead out of turn 3. And Emmett O'Grady is back in the mix. He has upped his ante somewhat. Another rider in the 54 bracket at the moment is Alan Kenny, but his last lap was a 54.6 as we watch the leaders come past the slower rider to start lap 11 of 14. Still Kevin Keyes leads. Last laps again were 54.4, 54.4 again for Brian McCormick, so very little between these three riders, and a 54.2 for Emmett O'Grady, who's now in the mix for potentially better than P3 that he's running at the moment. And we see another rider down in Southside Motor Factor, so that sector will be off limits for overtaking at the moment, which is where our leaders are coming into. So there will be no positional change for the moment as we start to look at the closing stages of this final Superbike Pro race of the afternoon. It's all going in the favour of Kevin Keyes, but Emmett O'Grady punts up the inside of Brian McCormick, and that will play into the hands of Kevin Keyes, because while the battle for second and third goes on, it means Kevin Keyes will be able to just keep his focus on running with the lead of this race. 12 of 14 laps in progress. Last laps were 54.5, 54.5, 54.4 for Kevin, Brian and Emmett. And we yellow flags from last sector are gone and taken in, so we can have overtakes, but at the moment Kevin Keyes has a margin of about 3 or 4 bike lengths and a back marker in the way, so he should pull over to the left, which he duly does, and that is going to cause Brian McCormick no problems, but he seems to have held on to that third position and not made any inroads to the second position that Emmett O'Grady has. So at the moment it looks as though Kevin Keyes, with a gap of 0.4 over Emmett O'Grady and Brian McCormick, 0.8 of a second further back from Alan Kenny, as the last lap flag is being prepared. We'll watch Kevin Keyes come out of the S's. He's going to see a pit board that is going to tell him that next on the list to check for is going to be Emmett O'Grady on the VTL tag Honda Fireblade. The last lap flag has gone out. Emmett O'Grady not close enough to have a go, but potentially, unless Kevin Keyes has a response to the progress of Emmett O'Grady, who both did a 54.5, 54.6 with Kevin Keyes, marginally slower, but not enough for Emmett O'Grady to threaten his lead at the moment. The lead that Kevin Keyes has had since passing Brian McCormick, who ran slightly wide in that turn 4, allowing the Edenderry rider through on the Darracor Yamaha R1 into the closing stages of this race. Now it is Kevin Keyes who still leads out of turn 4. Emmett O'Grady, don't think he can do anything onto the entry into Southside Motor Factors for the last time, so it looks as though the Edenderry rider is going to be on course for another win in the Principal Insurance Superbike Championship, and it is a win for Kevin Keyes, second for Emmett O'Grady in a third place for Brian McCormack on the FHO Racing Macau Roadhouse by BMW M1000. Alan Kenny should be next, and he does take the checkered flag in fourth. Fifth should be Andrew Huerty. Next we're working on Carl McGahan. And then a cup rider should be Ronan Waters, Declan Madden, and Shawnee Smith. Number 13, Shawnee Smith, just takes the checkered flag for his podium position. Third place in the Superbike Cup Championship. Next up should be Kevin Madigan. 147, and indeed it is. There goes Davin Casey, 888 on the GSXR 1000. And that is the last of your riders through the checkered flag. So that is on your screen now, confirming a win for the Darracor R1 rider of Kevin Keys. Second place, Emmett O'Grady on the VTL tag Honda Fireblade. And third place for Brian McCormack on the FHO Racing Macau Roadhouse BMW M1000RR. Your cup winners are number 151 Ronan Waters, 833 Declan Madden, and number 13 Shawnee Smith. And they are your two podiums for our last race of this afternoon. Very shortly we'll hand you over to Fergus Brennan for the last time. Before we go, we'd like to thank everybody who's made this weekend such a success. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all our medics. Thanks to all our volunteers. Thanks to our marshals who stood bravely on the banks yesterday in that dreadful rain. Thanks to all our officials, timekeepers, and race control who bringing our program back in yesterday when we had so much going against us. It was a very difficult day, but we managed to pull it off. So thanks to all of that. And we will see you all back here on the 27th and 28th of July for rounds 10, 11 and 12 of the Principal Insurance Masters. And with that, we thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. So for myself, Andy Quinn, we will talk to you again next month at the July Masters. And for the last time this afternoon, we'll hand you over to our podium presentations. And we're ready to go with our Pro and Cup riders in situ for the last time. Thanks, Fergus Brennan. All the best. Signing off.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, Andy, for everything today. We're finished up now. We just got the podium to do. One last podium for our Superbike, final Principal Insurance Superbike race of the weekend. And as usual, we're going to start with the Cup class. And in third place in the Cup class is Shawnee Smith. Well, since we had Sean up here. So Sean, if you can make your way up, please. Sean Smith. With his fan club down there, all dressed in pink. Sean, it's time to head for the podium. Shawnee. He's not listening to us. So we'll go with Declan Madden fairly quickly after that as well. Then Declan Madden was second after a great battle for the whole race with our winner of the Superbike Cup, Ronan Waters. So we'll deal with these as they arrive, seeing as Shawnee was so slow. Declan looks a bit worn out by that. Well done, well done. Yeah, he wants to do it all again. I think this is a record for the most amount of pink on the podium ever. So we'll give Ronan his. Well done, Ronan. And then finally, Sean, well done. Thank you. Great to see so many of you up here. You were a little bit adrift to the lads, but after earlier on having a few problems, I'm sure you're happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. A wee bit of a mishap off the line in the first race, and I didn't get to do it at all. And so it was just hard to be straight on the pace with the boys because, you know, they had the first race done. But happy to finish, get back here on one of these.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
You said it, yeah.
Another step forward.
That's it, yeah. Hopefully a bit better maybe next time round.
Okay, well done. Fantastic performance. Declan, not the top step this time. A hard old race there with Ronan. So how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm tired. That was a good race. I thought I'd have him in the last corner, but I made a mistake in they were the dog legs. So, but look, I rode well, so fair play to them.
That's all you have to say.
That's it, yeah.
Well done. You've done a lot of talking up here in the podium this weekend. Ronan, come on down here. Well, you got back to the top step without the BMW.
Yeah, well, it was unexpected, to be honest. I just got a good start, and led it from there. I could smell Declan the whole ways around, but delighted to finish. And I'd just like to say thanks to all the boys, Mark, Alan, Daniel, Father, Mick, Richard, Adrian, Pat, and all the lads, and all the sponsors, and all that to get me here. And delighted to be on the top step. Yeah.
Okay, well done, and great to be back up on the top step. Well done to our top three in the final Principal Insurance Superbike Cup race of the season. Sean Smith, Declan Madden, well done Declan, and Ronan Waters. And now for our final podium of the day, the last Superbike race of the weekend. For another great race, great battle between our top three. And in third place, it's Brian McCormack. Brian making his way up, as usual. Plenty of sponsors on there on the Roadhouse Macau BMW, but he's got the Megabikes hat on. Dunlop hat, Global Robots on the front. Takes a lot to keep this all going, doesn't it, Brian? In second place then we have Emmett O'Grady. And our winner for Darragh Racing, it's Kevin Keys. Well done, Brian. Well done, Emmett. And we just wait now. For Kevin and his young lad, who always accompanies, or almost always accompanies them up. Shake hands with everyone, good lad. Well done. So up we get Kevin. Well done. Well done. So we move back to Brian. Brian, you led that for a long way. That was a hard race, and you were going really quick into 53s, you and Kevin.
Yeah, about 5 or 6 laps in, I'd say the head gasket went on the bike. I had red lights flashing everywhere. It was 131 degrees on the dash, so.
And it still did 54s.
Yeah, it just took my concentration away, really. It didn't really do anything to the bike. It just took my concentration away a little bit. So struggled from there on in. Then the last 2 laps, I'd get the finger out and go, but it.
Yeah, you did close in again on the other two at the end.
Yeah, no, it was good. They're flying. Like I said, the pace was quite quick, so no excuses really. Just lots of concentration. Maybe getting too old or something. I don't know, but yeah, it was good fun.
Okay, well, great to have you here, and great to have you putting on such a great performance along with these 2 other lads. Great show all weekend in Supersport and Superbike. Emmett, you pushed really hard. You closed a big enough gap, and it looked at one stage like you might be able to take Kevin.
Yeah, well, the first half of the race was the lads pulled, and they were setting quick times, and I kind of built into it. The bike was doing a few silly things, but nothing. Just the bike was fine, to be fair, but it just didn't feel right. And then the lads started to have a little bit of a ding dong, so I brought them back towards me, and I just seen that gap and just put your head down bit by bit. But overall, can't complain. Great weekend, bringing home trophies, bikes in one bit. Had a good few races with Kevin. He obviously came out on top in the end. So, but we'll go on to the next one, and thanks for everything.
And you're only hundreds of a second off getting into the 53s along with the other 2 lads.
Yeah, a few years ago 54s was a distance, and now we're looking at 53s. So, like, to be fair, the marshals and the Roddy, the whole team yesterday out in the rain cleaned the track after I'll going down it. It's a testament to Mondello. In normal circumstances, that would be stopped. So for the track to be this clean today after what happened yesterday, hats off.
Thanks very much. We'll pass that on if they haven't already heard it. And now Kevin is coming down to join us. Kevin, up and down weekend, but a great way to finish it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been one of them weekends where it all went wrong and it's all gone right again. So yeah, no, it's been brilliant weekend. And that race was fast.
53s.
Yeah, it was decent lap times now, and I knew Brian was going to be very hard to beat. You know, he said he was going to make a change to the bike, and I knew from lap 1 it obviously helped him. So I just knew I had to keep Brian very honest and pray he made a mistake, and thankfully he did, because it would have been a big lunge otherwise. So yeah, Yeah, it's been a great weekend, you know. I don't know where Emmett's come out of, but he's hot on our heels now. I don't know who was second, but I definitely wasn't making that mistake again into the last corner.
Okay, well done on your weekend overall. Thanks very much to our top three in Superbike. Bit of a round of applause there for Brian McCormick, Emmett O'Grady and Kevin Keys. Now, I know, thanks you all for watching. I know that Andy has done quite a lot of thank yous to everybody, but just in case he missed anybody, I want to say thanks to all the officials and all the marshals, especially the ones who stayed out yesterday in the rain to keep this event going. We had a really stressful morning yesterday, but we managed to rejig the program, having cleaned, with the help of all the marshals and all the officials, cleaned the circuit up, and we got through every single race. It was a really well run weekend. Well done to everybody involved. Thanks to all our sponsorship. They're all on the back here, from Motorland, Sorcon Plant, DM Groundworks, OHA. They're all there. Please support them. Megabikes, Darracor, and of course Principal Insurance, our main sponsors. And don't forget what I was talking about earlier, the MCI Hole Shot draw. If you've enjoyed this broadcast on our live stream, we won't be here next year if people don't buy their tickets for that draw and support it. There will not be any motorcycle racing after the end of this year. It's really important. MCIHoldshot.com. Get on there, buy your tickets and support Irish motorcycle racing. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you again at the end of July.
The Masters Superbike Championship is brought to you by Principal Insurance, part of Howden. For motorbike, car, van and home insurance, Principal Insurance have you covered. Get a quote today. The Masters Superbike Championship is brought to you by Principal Insurance, part of Howden. For motorbike, car, van and home insurance, Principal Insurance have you covered. Get a quote today.